Another night. Good evening, beautiful people. I'm praying that today is better than yesterday and that our live is working today. We're going to see. How's everybody doing tonight? Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. If you can hear me, and I apologize if I sound a little nasally. Allergies been hitting me with the uppercut today, so not I've done everything in my power to eliminate the nasal. If y'all can see me right now, do me one big favor. Send me like some hearts or something so I know that everything is working. Because yesterday was a day. We were not able to get on live. We tried everything. I don't know what the heck was happening, but all we doing is talking positivity. That's it. That's all we doing. So I figured, hey, you can hear me loud and clear. Yes, that means we're working. And the good thing about Facebook is it can save the comments. So I'm able to actually keep this conversation and keep all of y'all dialogue as well. So we're going to have fun. First off, when you come on, where you checking in from? How's everybody doing? Where you checking in from today? And tell me something positive about your day. Yes, I've done the neti pot today. I did the steam a few minutes ago. I've taken about 8 showers. And I took my allergy medicine, but it's still, like, when this season changed like this, my allergies go crazy. I don't know what's going on. So we got Arizona, South Carolina in the house. We have, turn it down, Indianapolis, Virginia, Killeen, Texas. I hope I said that wrong. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Shout out to Faye, Cindy, Nikita, Benita, Becky, Cherie, Kimber, Tracy in Iowa. Kimber is in Tennessee. Anita is in San Diego, California. Wanda is Raleigh, North Carolina. Tamara is Georgia. Mary Ann Jones in Syracuse. Shout out to Mary Ann Jones. Nancy in Oregon. Canton is Kimberly. Fourth burst of energy. Got to study. Okay, Kina, Nikita, Samantha, Delaware, Arizona, Texas. Lily from Boca Raton, Florida. Sharon from British Columbia. Nikita. I keep asking and you never tell me. I am in upstate New York. God is good all the time. That's right. We got Vegas. Sue from upstate. Sierra Thurston. Hello. Sharon. Kelly, North Carolina. And Carrie in New Orleans. Sherry in Washington, D.C. Tracy, Ohio. Yes, Faye, it is a positive day. Tracy auditioned for a musical today. Sending some positive energy your way on getting a role. Anita. Yes, the positive new growth. Hello, 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 everybody. So, I don't know what was going on with social media yesterday. I was trying to just get on. I'm just going to say it was some glitches. All I know is for some reason, I could not get on. There were people that said they could do live. I couldn't get on here or Instagram. I don't know why. All I do is talk about positive things. So, who knows? Anyway, we made it on today. And hopefully everybody can see these lives. I have some of my friends that are going to get on today. They'll let me know when they're on. So when y'all on today, let me know. Today I wanted to do some more getting to know you and having a good time with everybody and keep it lighthearted and uplifted. Please come to Philadelphia. Listen, when I roll out the podcast, this is what I'm going to tell everybody. The goal is to tour around, have a good time, have great conversations, and spread positivity. That is literally the goal. All over the world. There is no place that I'm not trying to visit. So I see this as an avenue to not only promote something positive, but also to meet as many people as I can across the globe. That is the goal. That's the goal. So, gearing up, making it happen, working hard. Well, all right. This is what I need y'all to do today. I need y'all to tell me something positive about your day. Hope life has been kind to you. CL. Yes, life has been kind. This past year has been amazing. It's been a learning opportunity for me. Hold up. It's been a learning opportunity for me and Yeah, so talk a little bit about that. That's kind of the goal, and ask some questions. And I met some great people along the journey. And tonight I want to bring on some of the people I met along the way, and y'all get a chance to know them on this platform. We talked on the other platform last time. So yeah, Michelle, what's going on, Michelle? You off tonight?
What up? What up? What up?
What's going on, Q?
I'm sorry, I'm just setting up real quick.
It's all good. It's all good.
How you
Uh,
doing, brother?
hey, I'm blessed, man. I woke up.
You back
I'm a little
live. You
busy.
figured it out.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's going on, man. They blocking positivity, man. I don't know.
Right.
That was weird. It
That
never
was
happened
weird.
before. But then listen, I'm watching an influencer. Wait, before I go on, everybody say hello to my brother Quentin. Quentin Horton, Secrets to Sexy. Can you tell everybody quickly about yourself as you just popped? They're like, who is this other amazing smile black man that just popped on the screen?
Right. I'm just the Robin to your Batman, brother. I'm here to share and be conducive to the happiness and the positivity that you're sharing. I love the opportunity. Let me close this one real quick,
Okay.
so you don't hear much noise. My name is Quentin Horton. I'm a personal trainer. Uh, Looking forward to getting into acting soon, but most importantly, I'm preaching positivity, growth, harmony. Get to the next level, just becoming a full expression of what we were meant to be. That's what I'm here for. So
I
let's get it.
like that, man. A
Oh, my
full expression. Wait, say that last part again. A full expression of what? Say that for last part.
we were meant to be, the full expression of who we're meant to
Who
be.
we are meant to be. Can you dive a little bit deeper on that? What do you feel
Absolutely.
like? Who are you meant to be on this planet?
Absolutely. I think that everybody has a God-given purpose. We only know what that purpose is based on our connectivity to Him. And I think that life uses clues, right? So for me, just to give you a breakdown, maybe about 8 years ago, I get in the financial industry. So I was working on insurance, and I was trying to sell people investment packages. And what would happen is, hey, I'm not really interested in that, but I because you're very fit and stuff. So I wasn't a trainer at that time. That kept showing me that what I saw in me as far as my gift was the ability to be fit and help others get fit and stuff. And at that time, I'm not a trainer. Like, why don't you ask these questions? But then when I was next, I kind of realized that people were trying to tell me this is the dominant gift that I see in you right now and stuff. Doesn't mean I can't do financial stuff later, but right now, your gift right now, and the way you could help people is through helping them get fit and stuff. And so I went with that. I went with that first door, and that first door afforded me a lifestyle that, allowed me to be blessed, man. So I think everybody's purpose obviously is different, but the more connected you are to your spirit and what you really, really are passionate about, and that's when you're truly living in your purpose and stuff. So
That's dope, man. And to find because I found my purpose in fitness, man. 15, I think a little over 15 years ago.
yeah, about 15. I
Yeah,
thought,
about 15 years ago, man. It's been a journey, and I realized all the things that like all of this kind of started falling into place even more over the last like year, really. But for me, fitness was like I was always extremely active. I've been an athlete my entire life, and it's almost like the bad things that I heard about myself. If my grandma turns this on and watches right now, she always said I was busy, like I couldn't sit still,
all
like
right,
no, at all. When I first went to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So first I went into business. Then I went into education. I got into exercise science and kinesiology. Like I'm just trying to figure out. And then it was like principles of coaching. So I was like, well, maybe I'll be a coach. You as an athlete, you're like, I'm just gonna keep doing stuff to kind of figure it out because I had no idea what I
right.
wanted to do. And I think that over the years, I think I started falling more into my purpose by like the a few of the bad things that have happened in my life made me like kind of
Yeah,
realize
I
it
love
made me kind of
real.
realize it wasn't like the good things. It was like all of these negatives that started happening. More of those things made me realize like I needed to do X, Y, and Z in my life. I was like, wait a minute. And it's weird, right? Sometimes people go through bad things and then their life kind of falls apart. They spiral.
Right.
The negative things that started happening kind of just like light bulbs started going off. And I'm like, yo, I need to be doing this instead of, I just took action in another direction. So have you ever had an experience like that where like something negative happened that kind of shifted everything and made you like propel?
Absolutely. First, let me introduce my lady because she's been standing off to the side trying to get her introduction.
Dion, get on the screen, Dion.
Come on in.
Come on in, Dion. Wait, first, let me just give Dion her flowers. Listen, I first met Dion about 2 years ago. Very good, positive energy. Just when I found out, I was like, she's a singer. She has all this great energy. Then I met you shortly after. I was like, yo, this is a good combo. It gave me inspiration, man. So I like seeing y'all videos. I love seeing y'all content. I love the way that you two work together and like a team. And oftentimes, you know, we see it, but it's like for social media, and it looks like the two of you are doing it for the sake of your relationship, not for it's a social media piece is like an after effect of what you guys are doing. So I just appreciate seeing that, man. Love is always super important to me to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Funny because we work together more than we're able to show. It's the opposite versus like somebody that's like, let's pretend like we're working together, let's pretend like we're doing these beautiful things, but in real life we're not really doing as much of that. So hopefully the goal is to match like what we're doing for each other on a day-to-day basis and show more of that and stuff, and so people can understand like this isn't just for the gram or just for Facebook. It's like to show you an example of the fact that teamwork is a real thing and stuff, and teamwork make the dream work. But I want to ask you a question real quick, and then I'm going to let Dion speak on it. So what he asked was, have any negative events happen in your life to kind of shape your purpose? And she talks about it even more than me, man. Like some of the biggest traumatic things in your life could shape your spirit in a way that makes you a better person. Because that to understand something that happens to you that hurts you can sometimes make you a more compassionate person. It's like now I really care about people that have this type of disposition. So for me personally, I watched my family grow up very unhealthy. Like they would have unhealthy conversations. On my father's side, they was very obese. You know, dealt with high blood pressure, arthritis, flat-footed, bulging disc, all the things, and that experiencing the lack of life quality or quality of life with my family scared me into making sure that I took care of myself. Like I was always active and trying to find out like how to eat better and stuff like that. And at first I was just taking guesses, but I would look at the nutrition facts and like find out what was what. And then the second thing I would say is in my own household, watching my parents argue for hours at a time, as much as I don't like to harp on negative stuff, but watching that happen over and over again made me the type of person that's like, I want to be an open-minded person that when there's disagreement, I'm seeking to understand more than I'm seeking to win. So that doesn't mean you're not going to ever get an argument. Doesn't mean you're not going to ever get a debate. But what I saw with my parents was like two closed-minded people that just wasn't trying to understand what the other person was saying. And that's why it went on for hours and hours and hours. It was just a big loop and stuff. And a lot of times it can be right versus right, where it's like, yo, you guys both have valid feelings. But until you find a middle ground and set some new rules so that both people feel respected, it's not going to work out. And so at least I can say my blessing from that was I always take a second to reevaluate my actions and say, hey, am I really handling this the right way? I had a really big opportunity recently where I completely apologized to my girl, not for my feelings and how I felt about it, but how I was handling it. It's like, your feelings are always right. You're never wrong. It's about how you handle it that makes you right or wrong. And so I was like, hey, how I felt is how I felt. But the way I handled it wasn't in a way that you could receive with love. And so from that point on, I said, from this point on, here's the new conditions. I'm going to operate like this, and this going forward. And I think that's where true growth comes from, because anybody can apologize, but when you don't apologize with new conditions, it's like you can fall back in that same loop. And it's like, yo, apologies is cool, but not that cool when you're doing the same shit, you know, over and over again. So, but I'm going to let her speak on it. Let the queen speak.
Yo, what's good? You know what it is? You know what I know.
What's going on, Dion?
BK.
What's good, JT? So good to see you thriving and living in your purpose. I really love that. I mean, I love this since the beginning, but now the world gets to see, like, the real you, and I think that's great.
Absolutely.
Great job, kid.
Thriving.
So tell the people a little. Well, first, thank you, but tell everybody a little bit about what you do, Dion, because you are like multifaceted, multi-talented, and y'all they're in LA. So for those of y'all watching, they're like Los Angeles, California, the beautiful weather, the the movers and shakers all the time. I don't know how y'all manage living down there, but Q, you're used to that. So how do y'all, well, Dion, you tell me quickly, like how do y'all manage living in LA, and tell me a little bit about what you do.
Q calls me a Swiss Army knife. I think that's very funny. Because sometimes you pull out the little knife, but you need a screwdriver. You just got to figure out which piece goes into which lock. I mean, I think that I'm now coming into a place in my womanhood where I understand each tool and how they're used.
Right.
But when you first discover that I think everybody has the ability to unlock multiple parts of their being. I think God gives us multiple talents. And on top of that, you live life, and that'll give you skills. So talents you're born with, skills you obtain throughout your life. And you have all these things, but you don't know how to, like, what key fits what door. And life is going to teach you, you know, like little by little, what works for what. So I think in LA, unless you have that mentality, you kind of can't. It's way more difficult if you don't have that mentality. If you don't got a Swiss Army knife mentality in LA, it becomes very difficult because everything is expensive, everything is exclusive, everything is like, there's always some stipulation around it. So you have to be very malleable. And I think that living in LA has taught me how to, like, give honor to those gifts. Because at first you're like, you got ADD, same thing like you. Like, you can't sit down, you go moving all over the place, you're doing this, you're doing that. I'm Pisces. So, like, my energy is like, I'm just not feeling the vibe, you know, like, I'm all about flow. And when it was time for me to create force, I couldn't create it. I just would flow into something else. I met this young gentleman, and he was all about force. Not much flow, but all force. It's like, I'm going to get it done. Like you said, I'm going to the financial industry. I'm going, you know, I'm going to quit my day job, and I'm going to be a trainer. Like, all the things that most people are afraid to do. And I admire that about him. And he admired my flow. So I think that we found a way to make our differences work for each other. Because a lot of times people will get with someone who's just like them. But we're, like, completely night and day. We're so different. And so, like, I think what makes it most important is that the core foundation is the same, but everything else is very different. So he's more force and I'm more flow. And I think together that has created another level of, like, autonomy in LA. Because you could be living in LA and you got your flow, and that's great. But 2-3 years later, you find out that you're still flowing. You know, maybe you made it, maybe you didn't.
Right.
And you can be super forceful, and then 2-3 years later, you find out maybe you made it, maybe you didn't. But I think that two perspectives coming together as one perspective helps. It's kind of like a checks and balances, right? President can't make decisions on their own. Legislative, executive, none of them can make decisions on their own. But together, they make, like, our government. They make our system. You know, so when you find somebody in your life, doesn't have to be a partner, could be a mom, could be a friend, could be a therapist, could be anyone. But a lot of times, I think that when you find a perspective different from yours that you respect enough, can, you know, contribute to your perspective. So I think that that's what we're experiencing now, and that's what people are seeing. And LA has helped a lot because sometimes I got lost in, like, all the things that I could do. And he's like, no, you need structure. It's not that those things are bad. It's like, but if you don't create structure to them, you're just going to be running in circles.
Right.
So, you know, we managed to, like, I managed to be open-minded enough. He managed to, like, how do you say, what's the word? Like, where you're trying to give it in a way where you make sure that I understand what's happening.
Right. Make it palatable.
Yeah.
You're not mansplaining, are you, Q? You're not mansplaining, right?
Palatable. Palatable is a very good word, because he can be very, like, get it done, you know, and if that approach doesn't work, then you have to find another way to get your point across.
Yep.
So he made it more palatable, and before we knew it, we were, like, laying bricks together, as opposed to, like, one person laying the brick, one person taking it off. Another person laying the brick, another person taking it. Yep. You know what I mean? It took us about 2 years, but we figured out a way where both of us are laying bricks at the same time.
I got a question. Not to interrupt y'all. I want to know, how do y'all balance communication? If, like you said, 2 different people, right? 2 probably different styles of communication.
100%.
How did that mesh? Because I've learned that communication, like, some people are very intentional about, like, I'm an over communicator. I want to, like, know everything. I want to make sure that the words are clear. And then some people are just, like, you know, very passive. It's like, oh, well, you know, or shut down. How did the two of you manage like balancing communicating when y'all so different from each other?
I mean, do you want to answer it? Or do you want?
I'll start. I'll let her finish. She's a good friend. Well, I'll put it like this: we have a lot of polarity. We feel a lot of the same things principally, but we express them differently. And what happens is, you know, I would say Dion is a very misunderstood person because she has a lot of Pisces. And in my experience, Pisces women are, whether for good or bad, no matter where they're at in their journey, they have a hard time matching their outer reality with their inner reality. Where it's like, hey, I'm going to do these things because this is going to be a proper representation of who I am as a person. So Dion's a very free-flowing. Again, when you're free-flowing, you're doing what you feel in the moment, and it may not always be in contact with who exactly you are in the other people's eyes, if that makes sense. So she's like, I did this, but I know who I am, so I don't have nothing to prove to anybody. But when it comes down to it, this is who I really am. And so she has this layer where I was looking at the layer and not who she truly was as a person. It took me a while to be like, oh shit, you're gold, like complete gold. And in that discrepancy is where we had a lot of conflict.
I don't want to move past that, man. Just salute to you for making sure you just gave her flowers instantly and saying that. That's just dope, man. I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that.
And it was one of those things where like you know, she had that layer, and a lot of it conflicted with my principles, where it was like, yo, these are things I don't deal with or tolerate, but what we learned is that we feel a lot of the same things, and we just were expressing it differently based on our life experience and stuff. And so what happened is there was a period of time, and even now, I would say even this past week, I learned a lot. I was like, oh shit. It was kind of like piecing the missing pieces together, where it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. And so what happens is if you don't take that time to get to know this person, you don't really understand their operating system. And so certain things that happens, you're going to have misinterpretations of what that means and stuff. So I think like even in communication styles, sometimes people can say some things and it can be literal, it can be figurative, it can be inferential. And sometimes she would say stuff and it was like a little more inferential or figurative, and I'm like, yo, you said this, this, and this. I took it literal. You meant that. And it's stuff. So these little nuances that people think are not a big deal are a big deal when somebody's tied to your heart. So, you know, when you're that close to a person, you love somebody this closely, every little thing they do matters now. You know, and Dion, the reason why it was tough for Dion is because she never been in a situation where somebody truly loved her enough where they're watching everything she does. It's like, look, you have my full attention now. I see those things you used to get away with because the other dudes, you're more in the dating phase. I see it, and I didn't appreciate that.
So annoying.
She was like, why are you even looking at this? Like, why are you even paying attention? Like, leave me alone. Like, get off of me. It was kind of like a get off of me thing when it's like, no, we're in the same space, and I'm looking at your character with a magnifying glass, and no one's ever looked at her that closely. So what happens is she had to evaluate and like, oh shit, like he sees some things that I'd never really paid attention to and stuff. And it was a growing phase for both of us because what happened was it started with me doing that, and then she turned it around and was like, hey, I see some shit in you, you know? And I was like, oh.
How did you handle that? That's a question for both of y'all. How did y'all handle it? Dion, how did you handle it when he put that microscope on you?
I didn't handle it well.
Thank God. Thank you.
No, we
fought for
a long time. We were like on the fritz. We was like, I don't know how this is gonna go because I feel like you said, I'm a very free flowing person. Like my ideologies about the world sometimes are very different. I feel like I'm a visionary. Sometimes I see things that haven't yet come to fruition, but 9 out of 10 times it comes to pass, and I'm like, see. So I'm kind of like going with my gut feeling, and he's more of like a rational person. He's like, I believe in what I can see and what I can tangibilize in this moment, and I'm like, okay, it don't make sense in this moment, but 5 minutes down the line, it makes sense. So I think that the most important thing, this is not for us, this is for anybody. Sit down with the person that you are potentially thinking to be your partner. Ask them, what are your goals in life? What are your aspirations? What do you desire to do? What are the most important things to you? Those things have to match. They have to match, or they have to at least accommodate each other.
Yeah, exactly.
In a sense of like, we're going to the same corner store. It's like, yo, where you trying to go? It's like, yo, I'm trying to go to that corner store. He's like, oh shit, I'm trying to go to the corner store too. He's like, all right, cool, bust it. We're gonna take 2 lefts and a right. And he's like, nah, we're gonna take 2 rights and a left. But the thing is, both people are right. You're both gonna get to the store. But the thing is, once you've established the fact that both people are trying to get to the same destination, then big words, trust has to come into the situation, and vulnerability has to come into the situation. Because you can't allow someone to lead you if you don't trust them. And if you're not vulnerable enough to be like, this is not the way I would take, but I trust you enough to go with you and see what happens.
Yep.
And I also love and trust you enough that maybe if you made a wrong turn, I'm okay with redirecting the GPS. It's not like, look, you fucked. It's like a lot of people walk into relationships with baggage and trauma and like all of these different things from past relationships, and they're not aware of it until the situation pops up and they're like,
yep.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna choose me. And that's not the right way to go if you're moving as a unit. At the end of the day, you need to choose the unit. And the unit's gonna ask, what does my partner need to make sure that he's feeling understood and he's feeling powerful enough to get to where he's going? And he has to ask himself, what does my partner need to make sure that she's confident enough to follow, and also brave enough to like speak up when she knows what's what. So like that trust took a long time to build, where it's like, before I was just feeling like he was just trying to control me. I feel like he was trying to change me as a person, and like I was not having it. But then I had to ask myself a question. He's like, the change, yes, this person's trying to change you, right? But the changes that they're trying to make, is that making you a better person or a worse person? Are those changes leading you to that corner store that you say you want to be at or not? And every single time it was, yes, it's making me, yes, I could be a better communicator. Yes, I could move as a, like all the things that he was challenging was pushing me in the direction of a better person. And sometimes it hurts to grow. I mean, we know it. We go to the gym every day and you see what type of pain we're in. But relationships are the same way. You're going to feel those same growing pains where it's like, I'm not sure if this is what it's supposed to be. But again, you always revert back to that foundation. Where did you say you wanted to go? The corner store. Yep. Where did you say you wanted? The corner store. All right, cool. This way is not working. Do we love each other at the same time and find a different route if my route's not working for you and your route's not working for me? So it's like a gyra. So like women move in circles and men move in angles, in squares like this. Both of them lead to the center of the, you know what I mean? To the center of the picture, but there are different ways to go about it. And when you trust your partner, you make this like just beautiful dance where people can see, like, I see you guys moving in a way that feels very authentic. It's not rigid. It's not performed. It's not like force or flow. It's both, you know, but that takes time. And I mean, the number one thing for me is, again, where are you trying to go? Because if we're not trying to go to the same space, then we don't have no business walking together, at least not for a long period of time. But if we are trying to go to the same space because we've talked about it multiple times and your reality matches up with my reality, then everything else is kind of fixable, you know?
I like that I like that, not to cut you off, Deanna. I like that you said the growth piece, right? You know how people, I always say growth and change are like the same. Like when you're changing, you're actually growing. And I realized from my last, you know, that growth isn't like on everybody's agenda. Like they don't really, some people are just, I'm not changing. This is who I am, accept me for who I am. But I realize when people say stuff, there's no growth in that. There's literally like, all of us should strive to become better versions of ourselves, not stay exactly the same. And I don't mean like, no, I need new clothes. I need to upgrade my appearance. I'm talking about full on growth, changing as an individual. We should be daily changing and becoming a better version. And I realize, like, if you're not willing to do that, or if you're in a relationship with someone that's unwilling to do that, but like, you're trying to change me, the answer should be, yes, I'm trying to change us. Like we are trying to grow completely. But I like that you two said that, and Dion wasn't like, I'm gonna fight it. I'm just gonna fight it. Nope, I don't want to get better. Because that's ultimately what someone says when they say I'm not changing, is like, I'm unwilling to grow.
Well, I feel like, one, you have to convey to them that your growth is what they also want. You know, because it's not necessary. I mean, sometimes people can change you for the worst, and you have to trust that the partner that's asking you for a change is asking you for something that you also want. So it's no harm, no foul if you don't want it, but it is harm or foul if I know you don't want it and I continue down this road with you.
Right.
It's like, you said you wanted to go to the library, and I said I wanted to go to the corner store, and we still walking together. Don't make no sense. It's like, that doesn't mean that that person's not going to reach their destination. It's just not where I'm going. You know what I mean? So that's probably the fight that you might experience in someone, where it's like, I don't really trust. Yeah, because we're not going the same place. And I think a lot of people, they get together, the hormones and the chemicals in your brain are going off. We having sex, we going to dinner, it's all fun and games. And you don't have those fundamental conversations of like, what's your purpose in life? Like, we're and like, whoa, it got heavy. Yeah, it got to get heavy, because like, past a month or two, the older you get, we don't have time to be wasting. I want to walk with you, but I just want to walk in the right direction. Right. So growth is all about perspective. You know, he was asking me to grow at a time where no one had asked me to grow in that way. And he also wasn't doing it in a way that I could receive. Knowing your partner's love language is also very important. Mm-hmm. So he was very blunt, very to the point, Gemini energy. Like, listen, this is what it is, black or white. I'm like, nigga, it's gray. What's up? and we would be like going back and forth.
He's definitely fighting for the gray. I like
it's gray. It's totally gray. I see light gray. I see dark gray. I see, you know. And I think that at a point in time, I had to realize, like, am I fighting just to fight? You know, just because someone's telling me something and I don't like the fact that this man is telling me what to do? Or am I fighting because he's asking me to be someone that I don't want to be? And I was like, damn, well, I definitely want to be the person that he's talking about. I want to be more honest. I want to be more communicative. I want to, you know, make sure that my partner feels loved and appreciated. I don't want to make my partner feel hurt. It's like, if I'm doing all of these things, not by anybody's fault, but he's had like 15 years of relationship experience. So he understands the rigmarole of how that goes. And this is my first ever like serious relationship. So I'm kind of like, I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was like, yeah, we can hang out, but I'm going to hit up my homeboy and I'm going to go over here. Like, I've always been a free, and I'm like, and you could do the same. He's like, all right, cool. But you know, you're not going to do that. I was just like, all right.
How did that work? How did y'all come back together? Like, you like, well, you can go do this and do that. How long did that last? And then how did y'all like say, all right, this is what we want to do?
For like a year, and then we moved in together, and then we got to see like each other stripped naked. It's like, this is who I am on an everyday basis, not just on the Tuesdays and Thursdays that we see each other. Or like the weekends when we hang out, it's like, I see you every single day. I understand your sleep patterns. I know your work patterns. I know your work ethic. And then you start to see like who that person really is. So a year of bliss. And then we had like 6 months of like, whoa, like, did we make a mistake? And then right when it was at the end, I asked myself, and I think he asked myself too, okay, it's gonna end. It is what it is. All right, it's over. Fine. Let me ask you something. Did you give 100% though? Did you give everything that you could possibly give to make sure that this works? If you did, let it go. Let go and let God. We gonna do it. But if you feel like you even have an ounce more in your tank to give, then you need to double down on that. You need to love even harder, even though this person's getting on your nerves. Just to ease your own mind, to know I did everything possible to make sure that this worked, and it still didn't work. When that happens and it still doesn't work, then you walk away with like such a load off of you. Like, I wasn't 1 foot in, I wasn't 1 foot out, I wasn't hanging out with my homies and coming home and being frustrated. I did everything I was supposed to do and it didn't work. Or you could do everything you're supposed to do and then it just starts to click. I was like, all right, you know what? This is hard. I'm gonna give the big L word. Let me listen. Let me try to listen.
Let me try this thing.
Let me see what this listening thing is about. Like, let me see what this like apologizing thing is about.
Ooh, wait a minute, was that hard? Listen, I dated a woman that refused to apologize. It was always well, that's just the way you interpreted it, and maybe you saw it the wrong way. Was it hard for you to apologize?
Oh my God. Like, to this day, I'd be like, I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Nah, I've definitely gotten better at apologizing, but I think that because I've grown to trust this person more. Yeah. Where it's just like, if you mess up, like, just say you're sorry. It's not as big of a deal as your pride makes it seem. Because sometimes when you apologize, it makes you seem weak. It makes you seem vulnerable. It makes you seem like you were wrong. And maybe you're not even wrong, but it's like you lose the battle to win the war. It's like, we might be fighting over the color of curtains and we end up fighting for 6 months or 6 weeks, as opposed to saying like, you know what, you can have that battle. It's not a big deal to me. So you really got to choose your battles. Now, when I'm adamant about something, I really believe it, I try my best to communicate in a way that, like, it might take me some days. Like, if we're having a heated debate, I'm like, you know what? We need to take a pause. Let's take a smoke break. Let's take a commercial break. Let's go our separate ways to let the emotions cool down. Then we'll have this conversation again. So then I can be kind enough to say, like, listen, I don't agree with you. And it's okay that we don't agree. What now? But to say, like, no, I was wrong. You was da-da-da-da. It's all emotion and there's no logic. And then you create, you know, wounds that don't really heal if you speaking from a place of emotion instead of a place of, like, logic and love. So we've gotten into some heated arguments where, like, I was triggered and my trauma response came up. And I remember this one time I was cooking and he did something and your girl was heated. I was like, all right, somebody about to lose a head today. So let me go. I just left. I went upstairs. Thank God we have a really beautiful complex. I went upstairs, I barbecued some chicken and whatever. And he was just looking at me like, okay. Like, he didn't even think nothing of it, which made me more mad. I was like, you don't care that I'm mad. That I'm upset or something. But I got some time to myself. I cleared my head. I cleared my thoughts. I said, what's the most important thing? The most important thing is that I communicate exactly what I'm needing. What is my core need right now? I need you to understand me. So if I'm asking for understanding, then I have to give it. And you can't give understanding if you're in an upset place. So I came back downstairs. I started off with, like, listen, I love you very much. I just want to let you know that I absolutely love you. I adore you. I trust you. But these specific things make me feel unsafe. When I feel unsafe, and, you know, I kind of go into, but this is coming from logics. It's not coming from a defense mechanism. And behind that defense mechanism is I'm feeling unsafe. You know what I mean? It's like, go take your space.
And you took time before you responded.
Yeah, take your.
Oftentimes we, like, go immediately, like, well, you say something, you like, well, da-da-da-da-da. And so you took that time before you responded.
Beginning, he wouldn't allow me to take. He's like, no, let's talk right now. I'm like, bro, we can't talk right now. It's like, it's not. And I think over time he realized, like, oh, okay, I'd rather get the right response than an immediate response.
Yeah.
And some people are like, we need to talk right now. No, we don't. Like, we need to talk when we both are, like, at a 4. You can't talk when you're at a 7 because the only place to go from there is up. So, like, we've learned these tricks over time where it's like, all right, we'll talk tomorrow. I'll give you your space. You do your thing. So, yeah.
But look, it's dope to see, like, because I think I saw, like, the beginning phases of everything, and to see where you are now, I'm like, yes, success. It's just good to see and happiness.
Right?
What's that?
Especially in Black love, because Black love is, like, it feels like the hardest love on the planet, but it's also the most beautiful love on the planet. Because I feel like there are a lot of powers that be that work hard to make sure that Black union, specifically brown on brown union, doesn't happen. Whether it's through media or propaganda or advertisement, we're always showing you something that's might be better, more exotic, more different than your own homegrown backyard. So when you choose that path anyway, it's going to be filled with thorns and roses and stuff from both of people's traumas. But on the other side is, like, I think what God intended is like to have that depiction of, like, what he really intended for people to see. Because one thing about the media is, like, you see that thing, and even in your mind as a kid, you see something like, I want that. And you spend 20 years of your life chasing that thing, you know? So I think they go really hard to make sure that they don't show, like, this, where it's just like, I want that. No, I want that with a Black woman. I want that with, like, my own kind. So when the world's pulling me every single way, someone can hold me down right in the center of the storm, who, like, knows my jokes, knows my culture, you know, knows my mama, like, knows how to cook the way I wanted to cook, knows my laughter, my sense of humor. All of those things matter, and, like, all love is beautiful, right? But I think that Black love is rare. So it's, like, even more beautiful. It's like an amethyst. It's like, crystals are great, but, like, you got that pretty, you know? So we work hard, you know, we work really hard. It's not easy, but it's worth it. So if anybody's out there,
I'm happy that y'all showcase the work. I would love to see, you know, and my brain is like, if y'all show, like, have dialogue just surrounding the process every day. I like seeing, like,
that would be
you
dope.
doing music, and then, like, the fact that y'all show up for one another is important too. Like, you doing a photo shoot, cues the cameraman sometimes, and it's flipped around, and you're the camera woman, like shooting him doing whatever he's doing. You playing music, he holding a note in the background. You know, you shooting the action scene. He's in the scene getting shot. You know, but I see all of that, so it's just good to see in different in all facets. Mostly, especially because it's showcasing that y'all doing life together, not just I'm gonna do my thing, you go do your thing, and then we meet back at the crib. So that's just dope to see.
100%. I think that, you know, you got to support your partner's dreams and goals and aspirations. And I think that it's not like, yeah, I support you. The real question is asking your partners, like, how do you receive support? What does support look like to you? Because I might say, like, I reposted your thing, but maybe you needed to go over lines with me. Maybe you needed me to do something else that I wasn't aware of. And it's the same thing with love languages. It's like, how do you want me to love you versus how I know how to love people? That's one thing. That's great. Your love language is gifts. Your love language is quality time. That's great. But his love language is sense of touch. And his love language might be something else. So you loving me the way you want to love me, but you're not loving me the way that I'm requiring it.
Yep. That's one misnomer that I want to correct. When they say treat people the way you want to be treated, yes, that's true to an extent. But the truth is, like real love, studied love, because when you're in a relationship, you're studying how this person relieves. If you love them, you're studying how they receive love. And the key is to love them the way they want to be loved. Because it's going to be a little different from how you receive love. So, for example, for me personally, if there's an issue with me, say I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do, or I say something I'm not supposed to say, I don't need a whole lot of like empathizing, like, hey, I get that you feel like, I kind of need like, hey, like I saw that you did such and such, and I know you didn't mean it, but like, can you do this instead of that? And I'm like, as long as I understand what's being said and I'm aware that I did that, I'm like, oh shit, my bad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that, I apologize. Boom, done. Like I don't need nothing else. What I learned recently, and I was apologizing to her for this, the trauma that she's been through growing up young and not having a voice as a woman, stuff like that, situations where that has happened a lot. She needs more alignment. Like before I tell her, hey, yo, it's not this, it's that, I need to show her that I respect her feelings, that I understand where she's coming from, that I'm not here to be your enemy.
That's like, a big one, especially with Black people. You always feel like this person is like, they my lover, but they're kind of my enemy, and I gotta look out for me. I gotta protect myself first. And it's like, you're never gonna get where you're going if your protection comes before the protection of the actual unit.
Yeah.
Because life is gonna put you in situations where you get to choose yourself first, and you do it, and then your partner feels slighted, and then they start doing it, and before you know it, now there's a divide in the home. Absolutely. So it's like, you gotta take the time to really think about, like, is this a good decision for both of us? And sometimes just talking about the fact that you really want it, your partner might support that, and you end up doing your own thing anyway, but you're doing it with your partner's support, you know? So it's like, you definitely got to move as a unit. And that was the hardest thing for me to learn, because I lived 30 years by myself. I ain't had to cook for nobody, I had to clean for nobody, and have to know.
And she's a masculine woman. It's not like, now if she was a feminine woman,
I feel like I'm a blend.
She's masculine first, and then on the back layer, it's like, I got femininity, but you got to get past this layer. So she's just the fact of telling her to do something. Her mind is automatically like, fight back. Like he's trying to make you do something and stuff. So I think it took a while for her to trust that this particular man that's telling you to do something most likely is trying to create a situation that's mutually beneficial for all parties. It's not about control. It's about creating an ecosystem where both parties can feel, respected. But it took a while for her to realize, like, oh, okay, that's what's really happening. He's not trying to get me out of my purpose, or he's not trying to get me to bend on my principles. He's just trying to create a climate that we can both exist in successfully.
I mean, and as a woman, you don't see that often. Most men who are trying to tell you what to do is like
satisfying their own ego.
It's selfishly driven. It's like, do this because I want you to do it, not because this makes sense for both of us. So there's always going to be that fight, especially because, like, for example, I've gone through trauma where it's like I did something for someone else and I compromised who I was. Yeah. And you create this bond in your mind. It's like, never again. I'll never allow a man to fill in the blank. Right. Every Black woman has that part of them. But you have, once you meet that person that's for you, some of that wall has to come down. Mm-hmm. Some of it, just a little, not all of it, but most of it got to come down so that person can come over and like just give your inner child a hug. It's like, listen, I'm not here to hurt you, even though I know that you've been hurt in the past. I think that's a major thing to understand when you're operating out of trauma. And most people do not know when they're operating out of trauma.
And you could just be trauma bonding and being together in your trauma and not working on yourselves. And now we're together because we both hurt.
Exactly.
And that becomes toxic love. And that is a whole another process.
Yep. That is true.
Well, listen, I got some questions for y'all. But first, let me see. Because Mr. Diaz is going to join the chat. So we're gonna bring a dude that makes, you know, y'all two make me feel unfit. So I'm working on myself. Since I got on with y'all, I was like, and Dion, because I seen the pictures, I seen it before and after. I saw the everything. Y'all building the glutes. You got a whole new physique. Hey, Q, can you plug that real quick? Secrets to Sexy. Where can they find out information?
Absolutely. So my page is at to Sexy, so Secrets to Sexy. That's where a lot of our fitness content is at. We also have a clothing line, athletic apparel clothing line, Manifest Destiny 1111. So that's Manifest 11.11. And yeah, we're doing big things. We're gonna have more. Trust me, it's just getting started.
And you opened up the portal for that, so I definitely, appreciate that, because we think we gotta make a live, we gotta do, and then you go in your head and you try to make it so complicated. When it's really not that complicated. It's just you get on and you talk with really awesome people, and it just kind of snowballs. So
yeah, I have this belief system. This past, I always say these past 12 months have just been like, just go, just do something, take a step in the direction, whatever it is that you have in here and in here. You just have to take a step, and then I'll figure it out along the way. Oftentimes, and I talked to Antonio about this when he gets on, but we do the over talk, over plan, over analyze, overthink. Everything's over, and then you underdo everything because you've been over talking, overthinking, right? So you end up not getting it done. Antonio, can you mute your mic real quick, because it's gonna be some echo. So you end up overdoing it. I when I first met you two, and then talked to Dion, and she was telling me about the clothing. I'm like, yo, just do this. I'm free with information. I don't believe in like, let me just not tell everybody. No, I'm like, yo, do this. And then I seen it, I was like, yo, that's dope. I gotta plug. Anytime y'all never got them questions, you gotta plug. Go ahead, Dion.
You were one of the first people that I asked, because you had your Love is Dope shirt, and I'm like, damn, this is dope. I love, pun intended, it's like, I love everything that you're doing, and you were one of the first people that I reached out to that I asked for advice, and you were like so open and so like, I'm gonna give you this person number, and it just led down this rabbit hole of like information. But had I potentially had a bad experience with you, it was like, nah, like don't do that, or like, nah, I don't know, it might have changed. But I know that like just talking to you definitely pushed me in the direction that like it was intended to go. So like I really appreciate everything that you like have imparted on this whole process, from just watching your own growth to the information and the knowledge that you shared with us, to just like, just being a force. So here's your flowers, bro. I got to
piggyback on the flowers. I got an extra set of flowers, because this man, from the first 30 seconds we spoke, I was like, oh, he's dope. I'm really good. Like, I don't have to have a full-blown conversation. I can read energy like that. As soon as I saw your energy, I was like, he's dope. He's solid and stuff. And in addition to that, you're one of the only people that I met that I didn't know well that was that giving. It's like, hey, I'll give you the whole script. This is who I am. And that was your selling point. You was like, this is the type of person I am. I don't need to know you that well. I'll give you everything because I still want you to win. I don't need for you to be my best friend or it's like just the fact that you my people, I want you to win. And that's the type of person I am. I'm like, yo, I will try my best as long as it doesn't impede, obviously, with my own purpose, to help you if I can. If I can plug you to somebody or give you some tips, I'm going to do it, because I wish more people were like that for me. So when you did that, I was like, it was like a mirror. I was like, that I fuck with that. That's dope.
And I put that out because this is part of like putting out the energy that you want the world to give you. Like, I believe in like everything I put out into the universe. I'm just like, yo, I already know something's gonna come back in a form of positivity. I don't need material things. I just need good energy. I thrive off of the energy that I put out. So I'm like, yo, let what would happen if I just constantly put out good energy and love into the air, like with people? Like, I don't have to tell you no because you're gonna succeed. I want to tell you yes because I want you to succeed.
Right.
And not even for the sake of getting anything back other than the fact that I saw you succeed is like, that's dope to me. Like, I just feel, that's how I feel on a day-to-day basis. So like my friends, Antonio is one of my brothers. When he asked me for something, they're like, yo, how you do da 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 da? I'm instantly, it's like, oh, hold up. This is all you gotta do. Yo, go do this, call this person, go on here, and then go blah blah blah. But I realized there's not enough of us doing that. So I was like, yo, who's gonna start? So let me just start doing that. You know, connecting on live or having a conversation or calling somebody for someone or any information that I know, because we didn't have it. We don't have schools that just teach us how to do X, Y, and Z, or that network of people that are always going to be so giving. I know they're out there, but I mean, like, so we can see it like on the forefront. I think the more the platform grows, the more sharing information we can do, and actually more love can be spread across all of us, you know. What's that? Say that again, Dion.
Coming to California.
Listen, I'm not joking. I don't blow smoke. Y'all know I travel. I literally travel like it's been what, every week, every other weekend I'm gone, right? Let's set up a time. I'm all about intention. Q's intentional. I'm trying to get more like you and Diaz, where y'all like super, if y'all say something is on, y'all just, let's set a date. I will fly out to LA. We'll shoot content. We'll sit down, we'll politic. Let's do everything. And I'll come down for a weekend. That's an instant yes.
All right.
Okay.
Deal.
I'm with that.
Do that. Deal.
Well, first we got Antonio Diaz, a professional bodybuilder, father, father, husband, entrepreneur, soon to be Dr. Diaz. Congratulations in advance. I'm proud of you, brother. And I see Santi running in the background, man. So shout out to my godson back there.
Yep. Yeah, he upstairs right now. But no, I appreciate it. Thank you for, having me on the platform here. I mean, it's just dope to see this come to fruition. You know what I mean? Like, you always say record when I was back in New York. And we never really, you didn't. I didn't do it. And the formula was right there. I was so locked in achieving this goal that I'm like, yo, I don't even got time for, you know what I mean? I'm trying to, but now I'm like, yo, I should have did it. But I'm learning from you, and I definitely appreciate telling people they can do it, and like you loved and all that. So listen, in the line of work I do, that's so important that people need to hear that. We focus on the wrong stuff, but so I'm a big fan. I definitely appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all. All right, listen, I want to get some questions for y'all. We're gonna just do a round to y'all. Whoever can answer first, and I always ask things rooted in love or growth or our mental health, because it's important to me always. So just be like rapid fire questions. Y'all can answer how y'all see fit. And I want all three of y'all to answer, all right? Now, fellas, if y'all know anything about me, ladies are always first. So we're going to start off with Dion to answer the questions. And then we can go with the fellas, all right? So what opportunities have you passed up on that you still think about today?
Don't do this. I ain't got to. How you gonna have me go first in a question like this? Okay, so we didn't get a chance, earlier to talk about it, but I'm an artist. I do lots of musical things. I enjoy playing guitar. I enjoy playing piano. I enjoy singing, songwriting. Like, that's just my thing. There are countless opportunities that people have saw in me something that I wasn't ready to receive. Where it's like, whether it be a show or opportunity to come and sing or opportunity to just like showcase my talent. And I just got kind of like chickened out. I was like, nah, my throw's not working or this is not that. And I think that I passed up on those opportunities because I wasn't sharpening my craft. I was so busy doing everything else that, there's some people who cannot like be practiced and still walk and talk like they've been practicing their whole life. You got that mouthpiece, like, I'm the best, I'm the this, I'm the that. And you hear them, it's like, you're not the best, you're not the this, you're not. I'm the opposite. I'm like, if I don't put in the work, I will not tell anyone what I'm doing because like I don't like being a fraud. Right. So, but I think that even in this relationship, it taught me like, just because you're not where you want to be doesn't mean you're not who you are.
Right.
You know, so you can't keep passing up opportunities because that can lead you to another. You don't know, like, that's getting you where you need to go. So stop passing up opportunities, even if you feel you're not ready. Just fail forward. I think Will Smith said it. He said, fail often, fail forward, and fail hard. Where it's just like, because failing is just figuring out, like, what doesn't work. But it's not saying, like, stop trying. It's like, okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Let's review what went wrong. How do we make it better? But I'd be so afraid to fail or so afraid that it's not going to be perfect that I would just, like, check it out. So, you know, I've had opportunities to go on big stages and like, I just didn't show up. It was like, anybody see?
So we make, so hold up. So not to stop you, but so we're making commitment today that is no longer going to be a thing.
I started posting page, if you guys go to Dion_Hart, that's DIION_Hart. I'm posting music more. I'm like playing my guitar more. I'm playing my piano more. I got shows. But it's like, we're stepping into our greatness, whether you're ready for the light or not. Just step into it. So,
all right. So we're gonna make sure after we get off the live, you tag all the information so people can follow you and hold Dion accountable. Make sure she posts every week. So now we got we talk about it. All right. So what about you, Q?
I would say.
Wait, let me reiterate the question if anybody got on. It says, what major opportunity have you passed up that you still think about today?
To be honest, I'm like the opposite of Dion. That's why we work out very well. I'm a shot taker. If I didn't take the opportunity, it's because I knew it wasn't for me and stuff. So I have no regrets. If anything, I would say the only thing that comes close to that is I know that my next chapter outside of real estate and fitness is acting and stuff. But to me, acting is like playing double dutch, where it's like you got these other things going on and you don't really want to you don't want to get into acting unless you're serious. You know, I'm like her in that regard, but it wasn't like I had an acting opportunity and I turned it down. It's just more so like to get the acting coach, to be able to go to auditions, to have the flexibility to do it, to practice the lines, to get the reels, all of that stuff. That takes a certain level of focus, and I'm real with myself to know, like, I'm not there yet, but I know that I'm heading in that direction. So I think for me, next year is a year where it's like it's time to start pivoting towards that direction as well. And I tried to do it in 2020. Got my feet wet a little bit. Did a couple of.
He didn't try. Hold on. He didn't try to do it. He's on, what is it, episode 6 of Insecure.
I'm in the back of the back.
The last episode, the last season, he is there. He's shaking up the drinks, you know.
I'm a cocktail
guy.
He
showed up. So
I
it's
shook
like,
on some
okay,
stuff.
you got your feet wet.
You know, and what I would say about that I loved is not necessarily the role. The role, I was just in the room. But I got to feel Issa Rae's energy. Like, you can feel her power. You can feel how she galvanized everybody in the room. It felt like the entire room, and it was about 70 people in there, was centered towards her. And I got to watch her manifestation come to an end because that was the last season. So I got to see that with my own eyes, and I got to see how she operates off camera. And she's solid as fuck. Like, she's very solid in the sense of, like, her energy on camera, like what she portrays as a character or what she portrays in the media, is a pretty close copy to what you'll see off camera and stuff. Like, she relaxes a little bit more. She uses a couple of curse words here and there because she got a little hood in her. But, like, you can feel like she's real. Like, she's in real time. She's very present. She doesn't have a facade. She's doing it her way on her terms. And the people that she had that was on that episode, these are all her friends. So, like, a lot of these people was, like, people she grew up with that did her YouTube series and stuff like that. And she took them with her. So for me, I was just inspired, and it felt like, okay, this is another reason why I should get into acting, because the platform allows you to have a bigger voice. It allows you to empower other people, and it allows you to express an art about yourself where people can see great actors. You can see the windows to their soul. So it's not like, oh, he's a good person that he knows how to pretend well. It's like, no, he is pretending to be something, but you see the piece of him that's real and stuff. So
more acting for Q 2023.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I feel like kind of.
So we're gonna see more like acting reels that you're gonna post. You're gonna start getting more into it. I told you, if you communicate with me, this is the season of now. We gotta take steps towards it now. So even if you set a goal, be like, maybe next year we're gonna shift towards. If it's on your spirit and you feel it, do something now towards it. It's like we got 3 trainers on here right now, right?
Right.
How many, if you know, if a client tells us today is Wednesday, if a client, and Dion, 4. So if a client tells us today that they're going to start on Monday, what goes to our mind instantly? You already know what it is. Why? What you waiting for?
Yeah.
Or if they say, oh, I'm gonna start in the new year. I'm like, shorty, it's October. Like you got a whole bunch of time before the new year.
It's definitely true.
So take the same, this my thought process is take the same advice that we give. We have all these visions and goals and aspirations. And the one thing that we do see now with the advent of social media is that you can be multifaceted and have multiple businesses operating. It's not like, well, you're gonna do bits and pieces of yourself. No, you create teams and systems that operate this business, and then you train here, and then you do your acting when you're on Tuesday through Friday, you go to your acting gigs, and then you got Saturday through whatever to do your other thing. It's all possible. And I think and know that you're gonna be successful because you're gonna start like tomorrow. So I'm proud of you in advance.
Definitely, for the that you at least have acting reels. I will at least have something.
He already knows the whole script for a verse in New Jack City.
She might be Nino Brown in New Jack City.
I forced him to learn the whole.
All right, listen, we got to see that reel this week, man. Y'all got to put it together.
Well, I was like, bro, like
look, that's going on my. I'm sharing that on my story about 13 times when y'all make it. So y'all got to put that out. You got to put that out. All right, Diaz, an opportunity. What major opportunity that you passed up that you still think about today?
Probably I had an FBI opportunity to be a special agent. I took the exam.
We're not just gonna bypass that, man. Let's say that one more time.
So I had an opportunity to be like a special agent for the FBI, which a lot of people don't. I think I told you before. You just don't know. But make a long story short, it was go back to school or continue to pursue this. And I took the educational route. And by the time I looked up, I was like, I can do everything I'm doing now without the education. But I do not, I do not tell people not to do it because the importance of education and what you learn, it makes you that much more powerful in the world. So now I could do things that I could have never done before through just sitting and mimicking and watching, finding the lingo. But, just that opportunity to, it was dope, man. I was in like, Harlem. Columbia University actually had the headquarters where they did a big, I was in all that. And it just, I think about it, but I really feel like God put me in the right direction. But I think about that, especially when CSI and all that come on. I'm like, man, I could have. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to. What made me not really do it, to be honest, is just that relocation. I'm not giving nothing up for my family. I don't care what you paying me, because I don't get that time back. So you can have all that. So I decided to, I'm gonna make my own way. So, but I do think about it sometimes. But everything else, I kind of pulled the trigger on. So.
I see Dion tapping Q. Pull that trigger, man.
My hand off him because I got the house for it.
No, all right, listen.
I get what you're saying, brother. I think, I think it's one of those things where and that's why I don't really live with regrets, right? Because blessings don't work where if you miss the window, then you can no longer have peace or happiness or prosperity, And old girl talks about that. What's her name? Abraham Hicks talks about that, where it's the way God works is if you miss a window, that portal might close, but he's always opening up new portals. It's okay, well, if that ain't it, let's try this one. So it's not one destination that makes you happy or one destination. There's an infinite amount of different destinations based on a group of choices that can also bring you abundance. So I don't really have regrets because my belief system is if I did miss an opportunity that I wasn't aware of, I wasn't aware of it. It wasn't my opportunity to have, at least not in that time. So, regrets is a negative frequency that can really have you looking in your rearview mirror more than looking ahead, what's ahead, of you. So, How
about you?
Right.
For me, the only thing that I have is not doing what I'm doing sooner. Not seeing myself as who everyone else. Diaz is shaking his head because he already knows. We've had this conversation multiple times. I feel like I'm the last person to see myself. So like, and what I mean by that is all I hear on a regular basis is positive things about myself. I've heard it, and I had so much self-doubt that I never saw myself. I look in the mirror and I see a version of myself that was ridiculed, that was made fun of as a kid, that was abused, that was called ugly most of his life, that was told he'll never be anything, that he'll go to jail, that you're going to die before 18, that the streets are going to take you. That's who I see. So I wasn't, my biggest hang up is that I didn't see myself sooner. You know what I mean? Everything that I'm doing now, my friends, Antonio tell me, like, yo, you don't even, when we met, this dude told me I didn't belong here. Like, he's like, you don't even seem like you should be here. Like this, you're not that type of person. You don't fit in with this environment. So my only thing that I think about constantly is like, damn, I wish I'd listened to the people that were giving me all of these positive affirmations early on, and that I saw myself for who I am today years ago, you know?
Wait, because, you know, we've had a lot of these. I mean, again, the first thing I thought when I met you, you know, not being from upstate, I was like, this dude don't even fit the characteristics of where we at.
No, he's New York.
But I will tell you this. Sometimes if you give a young boy a razor, like at the age of 8, it ain't gonna do nothing for him but hurt him. But you give that same individual a razor at 24, it could be life changing. You know what I mean? So I really think timing is important. I think, you know, thinking back of those conversations, yes, we wanted to pull the trigger a lot. We were talking about all types of stuff, especially you. But I think I seen the growth in the understanding and the knowledge that just blossomed. Like I said before I left, I'm like, you know, I know you're gonna be good. And I hope you move, but I know you're gonna be good. But I seen it coming, and the fact that when you called me, it was like, yo, I'm leaving the job. I was like, thank God. There we go. All right, there we go. So, I think your timing is everything. And I will say, if you probably put the trigger back then, you wouldn't be where you are right now. You know what I mean? Prematurely, I think it just would have been too much at that time. But I really believe like you are exactly where you need to be. Now, if we have this conversation a year from now and you still ain't moved, that's another conversation that we need to have.
That's right.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. All right, so listen, next question for the three of you. What changes do you need to make to have the life you want? This is like one of those dig deep, be honest with yourself moments. What change do you feel like you need to make in order to have the life that you want? If you could do it tomorrow, what's the first thing that you change? And we're going to start with the queen online.
I resonated so much with what you just said in a lot of ways. It's like not missing the window of opportunity for you to see you. So it's like, for me, the changes that I need to make are very similar to what's going on with you. It's like every day you wake up renewed and refreshed with new eyes towards the opportunities ahead of you. I think that's the most important thing, because we all have an aspect of us that's looking behind, that's looking to the side, and that's looking to the front. And every day and every second is kind of shifting around, where you're like, maybe I looked in the back for 20 minutes as I had a conversation with my homeboy about high school. Or maybe I looked forward as I got on the live with JT and talked about the things that I want to manifest. So I think for me, the most important thing is like looking in that mirror every morning when I wake up and having a forward conversation and not a backward conversation. Because sometimes you wake up and be like, damn, like, I gotta wake up, I gotta go train, I gotta do this, or I didn't get that done yesterday, let me roll it up. You know, it's kind of like coming from a pessimistic point of view for me, in the sense of like always wanting everything to be perfect. And it's like, again, you don't got to be perfect to start. You just got to start to start. So it's like that starting point of just like a mustard seed of hope and optimism that you're going to get where you're going is definitely something that I'm embodying in real time, where it's like every single day I try to water that seed a little bit more, in the sense of like looking forward. Okay, I didn't get whatever done yesterday, but this is the day that I'm going to get this, this, and this done. So I think that conversation with myself is always like the most paramount, because if you're not monitoring your mind, before you know it, you're looking over at somebody else's page, wondering why you ain't get those answers too. It's
Right,
like, no,
right.
look at your own.
That's the worst place to look, is at somebody else's paper, boy.
you. Their C is gonna be your B, and somebody else A is gonna be your D. So it's like you gotta focus on your own page, and that's the biggest thing for me. Like staying off social media unless it's in a productive space, not interacting with people that don't contribute to just me thinking positively of me, including myself. It's like don't beat yourself up. The world is hard enough. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely.
You same question.
That's real. That's real. I think to me, like, man, like my biggest opportunity is constantly checking in with myself spiritually and emotionally, because the action, like the actual going hard, actually, I'm a forced person by nature. So it's like once I know what the instructions are, I'm going to fight to get it done. I shoot every shot. I have no problem.
I would say I'm the steering wheel. He's the engine.
Exactly.
Both of them gonna make the car go.
Exactly. I have no problem shooting the shot, but what will affect me is if I'm not paying attention to how I feel spiritually, how I feel emotionally, and monitoring those little thoughts and seeds of doubt that everybody has. You're not the only person going through that. Things happen in your childhood, especially as a black man and black woman, that, you know, those are your formative years where the world is telling you who you are. And the thing is, it's not true, but in your mind, in your subconscious mind, it believes it is. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, it was said, so it must be true. The mind doesn't know if it's a lie. It doesn't know if it was a joke. It doesn't know if that person was just out of alignment. They were mad that day. All it knows is like, this person said I was stupid, you know, or this person said I was, you know, not attractive. And that becomes a stain in your subconscious mind. And then we find our adult years trying to unlearn that, where it's like, oh, that wasn't true, actually. So I think for me, doing that work, we're all doing that work every day. Trust me. Everybody, every client I ever had, every friend I ever had, has some things that were said to them or done to them where they're trying to prove that wrong and stuff. And so for me, I'm just being more conscious of those things that were said and done and redefining myself every day. And I think as long as I continuously do that, if I double down on that and double down on how I feel and grounding myself with God, the execution is a lot easier and smoother. Because before it was just like, just get it done. But the truth is like, if you drive to Las Vegas, but you just drive through the desert, in the desert and not on the streets, I'm just going to drive in the desert and hit all these fucking rocks and cactus plants. But I'm going to get there. Your tire's going to be fucked up.
Everything's going to be,
your transmission be like, what is going on here? Your car going to be beat up. It's going to be like, you're not going to have a car. So for me, it's not just about getting there. It's about how you get there.
I think you learn that in this relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely, the flow of her, like being in touch with her emotions definitely made me more in touch with my emotions. And also because she's such an expressive person that she's always introspective. I've never been more introspective before her. Like we've had so many introspective conversations that it makes me monitor everything I think and feel. And that's a beautiful thing about knowing this lady. So
yeah, guys don't think about that. They're like, I'm gonna just, like you said, I'm gonna just get it done. I'm gonna just drive through and power through. But you look behind you and you made this big ass mess. Like, you know what I mean? You got there, but at the expense of the mess that you made. And
I'm gonna say enough. We have checkpoints. We'll check in and say, oh, I feel like this. But I think the more alpha male that you are, the more masculine you are, we're taught not to acknowledge feelings.
Feel it. Yeah.
It's like, no, that didn't bother me. Just keep going. And then those checkpoints, when you miss those checkpoints, a lot of shit happens, and you be like, damn, why am I a mess right now? Like, why did this happen? Then you got to go back and retrace your steps. Like, damn, okay, well, when this person said this or did this, it made me feel like this. So instead of going all the way back home, it's like if you went all the way to Vegas, you forgot your cell phone. And it's like, if you trace your steps from the moment you hop in the car to the moment you get to the corner, you check in like, okay, how do I feel? Okay, I'm good, keep going. Then what happens is you have a smoother, more enjoyable, higher quality of life along the way. So it's not just about getting to these checkpoints. It's about checking yourself along the way and like making sure that you're doing it the right way and stuff. So I'll say
that. Antonio.
Yeah, Houston.
What's the first thing you changed?
I think for me, working, obviously, I try to study like how a lot of just billionaires move, millionaires move, the mindset. But that was before, that was after the fact I learned what does discipline mean, how to be, you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of those things were just innate. So I said, okay, what am I? Because again, I can work hard. I can work 3-4 jobs, right? And for me, I'm like, yo, that's not smart. Because what I'm going to do is I'm work myself into the ground. So I need to learn. So this year I've been very, cognizant of like my intentions and the people I'm talking to and in just the conversations I'm even in. Like I'll call a dealership and have a conversation on just to pick up something that they do on a selling point where I can learn while I'm selling my product. So I try to work smarter, you know what I mean? Like smart investments, networking more. Really, a lot of people invite me to places I don't show up just because, and I don't mean to do it on purpose, but I don't show up just because, you know, again, I got a lot going on. I'm always prepping. Obviously training comes with that. I got a family, this and that. But when I go to those events and those opportunities, I meet people, you know what I mean? That can get me places I normally can't go. So I got to just work a lot smarter. And that's 2023, God willing, I'm gonna be very, very intentional and deliberate about just anything I occupy, because what's holding me back from, getting my G-Wagon or this or that. And it's not even about the materialistic things. I'm just goal oriented, right? I'm cool with a Ford, and we in a ranch house, as long as everybody happy. However, my brain don't work like that. I'm like, yo, if we can do it, why not do it? And however it is, however you need to go, teach me the game plan, send me the playbook. I promise you I'll execute it. It may take long, but I'm gonna do it. So now I'm like, smart. The wealthy don't work. So I'm doing too much. I should be able to pick up a phone call and have 6 people working for me just from what I'm selling and make it so appealing. So now, next year I'll be at universities. Hey, are you in human services? Do you mind working? I'm recruiting, and I'm going to just move it better because I have to. Because, yeah, that whole working, I can't do that. I can't. And I ain't saying I stress myself out just, working long hours and not making the money I need to make. You know what I mean? And that just bothers me because I ain't trying to have my wife killing herself to.
Yeah. I want to just try real fast before JT speaks on this same question. I always have this checkpoint in my mind. Am I working hard enough? Am I working smart enough? And a lot of times it'll be like, I'm working hard, but I'm definitely not working smart. And then I make some adjustments. I maybe pull back a little bit and be more observative. Like, okay, what's the strategy that's going to get me where I want to go faster? And then sometimes pretty efficient, but I'm not working hard enough. It's like what you're doing is pretty damn efficient, but you're not really putting your feet on the pedal right now. So it's always that constant toggle between working harder and smarter and doing them both at the same time, But yeah,
No, I think I was going to touch on that. Is like, for me, the change for me is to pull the trigger on a lot of the things that I've always had. Like I have a board downstairs in my kitchen because that's the first place I go in the morning, go get some water. So on my board, at the end of the night, I write down my goals for tomorrow, because the first thing I'm going to see is that water in that fridge. So I'm going to see my board. And it's like my list. So I write my list of 10 every night, and I go in there. I'm like, dang, what didn't I check off? For me, it's mostly like pulling the trigger on ideas that I have, and like going into like whatever the idea was. Like I have this belief system that we have roots. Those are the things that we know from our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, and the things that they've accomplished in their life. Those are your roots. Those are your foundation, right? And then I become the tree, right? And off of that tree, I got all these branches, right? So let's say I am a trainer. That's something that I do. Or I am a coach, or I'm a speaker. So let's say as a speaker, this is me, and then all these branches come off of me being able to speak. Well, I can speak at a fitness event. I can speak at a school from an educational background. I can do all of these things, right? Then there's fitness. I can do fitness. I can do that with kids. I can work with elderly. I work with kids with special needs. I work with all of these things. And I'm like, all right, which one of these branches do I branch off, like, do I tackle today? You know what I mean? Or the fact that I can easily speak to any audience. Do I go into motivational speaking today? Do I talk at a school? Do I try to book myself at a large corporation? Do I do an audible, like a book, and do a kid's book? Like all of these things, for me, I say all of it. I'm a little different than some people. Don't think that way. I'm saying I'm going to do everything. I'm going to hit every branch and tackle everything on each branch every day. I think oftentimes my fear becomes, oh, you're doing too much, because that's what we hear, right? People tell you you're doing too much, and you're like, nah, you can't do all of those things. But I won't maybe I won't be able to tackle all the things, but I am damn sure going to try to get up to every branch that I can and maximize the fact that I have these roots in this foundation, and I can try all of these things, because who knows which one instantly takes off. You never know what it's gonna be. So why limit myself in just pulling the trigger on one of those things because someone else ideas and a belief system stop me. So my biggest thing, like tomorrow, if what's the one thing that's gonna propel my life, continuing to take the chances that got me to this point. Because I didn't get to this point by staying quiet and not doing anything. It took a bunch of bad events for me to be like, all right, yeah, what am I doing? Like, all right, now then I finally saw myself, and I was like, all right, you got to do something with what you have. You got all the tools, all the conversations you had over the years, people telling you things about yourself. Now it's time to start listening to those things and taking action instead of listening to those things and be like, nah, man, they don't understand the way I feel and think and all these things, putting myself back into a crater and not doing it. Now it's like every day do something. I don't care what it is, but something, and then next week is something new. And then the week after that is something new. I fly to whatever state and speak at whatever school and do whatever group fitness thing and then bring myself back home. I just got back. Like I literally got back 2 days ago. I was in Houston, Texas. And you never think, like a few years ago, I would have never thought that I'd be traveling or being able to be paid to go do these things and then pop right back home, you know? But yeah, man, it's dope to see. It's like I'm in the same seat that everyone else is watching myself do things that I didn't think I could do.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest feeling. And then I go have a conversation in the mirror with myself. And then I'll make a video, which is still me talking to me, and all of my content is me affirming myself. Or most of my content is me having dialogue with myself. These are not speaking to the world. This is me opening up and being eye contact with myself, looking myself in that phone or the mirror, and being real with myself. So if I'm saying something that uplifts you, I'm literally uplifting myself in that moment. That's where the content comes from.
Absolutely. Actually, what was the catalyst before you went on a rampage and you was like, I'm taking my positivity to social media? What was the last thing or event or thing, something that happened that was like, you know what? I'm serious now. I'm about to go live and I'm about to do this on another level.
You know what? It was a series of things.
I know what it is, bro. I know what it is.
The last that happened, I'm gonna answer for him because he's gonna make it sound good. The fact of the matter,
thank you.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Houston. No, tell me if I'm wrong. He literally, a couple weeks later, after him leaving his job, I'm not even kidding. It was a couple weeks later, he just took off. Crazy because, you know, I know your concerns about that security, job security and all that. And when you was like, yo, I'm done, I'm not even kidding, like 3-4 weeks later, this dude was a whole nother person. I was like, what in the world? Like, he doing everything.
Yo, wait, I'll share something extra. It was literally like a month after the leaving the job, right? I doubled so that month I doubled my income from what I made in a month. I doubled that in a span of 4 weeks, just off social media alone. It was insane.
That's amazing.
Gosh, show us how to do that.
So yeah, it was a few things. It was like, man, I think I'm just trying to pinpoint that particular point. Just feeling like taken advantage of in different aspects of my life, like trying to give to people, and I'm talking, and it's on all spectrums, like workplace, relationship stuff, helping friends, family members, like all of these things. It was like, damn, I'm the one people are taking advantage of in this, and I just didn't like that feeling of like you're doing everything to help, but you're also helping the wrong people. You know what I mean? Like you realize that, oh man, it was right to help. You don't stop helping, but you assess who you're helping in the process. Like, yeah, you should always, because you know, most people are like, I'm not helping anybody else. I'm not doing this because I've been stabbed and da-da-da. No, you're just helping the wrong people. Yep. If you're someone that wants to help, continue to help. Continue to put out what you put out. Just make sure you're intentional about who you're giving it to. It's like, I hear women say, black men, it ain't this, and men always do this. No, just blame that particular man that you had an issue with was the problem. Even if it was 3, it was those 3 men. It wasn't all of them. Men. It wasn't that one. It wasn't all women. It wasn't all black women. It wasn't all Puerto Rican women. It wasn't all white. It was those women that you dealt with. And then It was the realization, because I started therapy again, right? The realization that I was giving off something that was attracting those people into my life. I had to take ownership of that. It wasn't blame the world. It was, during that process, when you say, what did you do? I took accountability for all of my stuff. I was by myself. I had to write it down. I had to look in the mirror. And then I had to go to therapy and talk to this person I don't know. And I had to really be honest with myself and say, this is your fault. Because guess what? I got results. Just like you go to the gym and you work out and you're taking your protein, you drink your water, you're going to get the results based off of what you did.
Right.
So I was getting results. I was doing the thing, but I was also getting results based off of the people that I was giving it to, the discernment I wasn't using, because I knew better in a lot of these situations to not give in this workplace, not give in this relationship, not give to these people and communicate, because I'm like, it didn't feel right. You know, when it don't feel right, you're like, wait, this don't make sense. But I wasn't using this and this at the same time. It was like they were working independently.
Yep.
You know, your heart's doing one thing, your brain's doing something else. And then there was somewhere in between where you kind of living. So that was like the catalyst of, like, I was like a light bulb. I was like, yo, all of these things seem to be going chaotic. What is going on? Like, something I'm giving. I'm talking to God. I have a relationship with I talked to my grandmother. We talk about God and we have our spiritual connection. My grandmother's my best friend. So we have like real life conversations, and I'm thinking, like, I talked to her about everything. I kind of let her know, and grandma's real with me, and she'll tell me, like, that ain't it. Like, certain things, she's like, nope. And instead of listening initially, I'm like, no, man, but you know, there's some good. You see the good in the, you know, you said, Lord, to give a chance, and you got to be good to people. She's like, that ain't it. But you're not listening at that point. And then finally, it was like, all right, you got to realize that you're not listening to all of the, I know everybody say red flags. You're not listening to the sirens going off over here. Somebody broke a glass over here. You stepped on a thorn over here. Like, somebody hit you in the back of the head with a bottle. You ignored it. Like, you're not paying attention to those things. And I think all of that came to a head at one point. I was literally like sick. I remember being sick on my birthday. And then that's when everything hit me. It was like, yo, this is not it. This is definitely not it. Like, even that whole process. But we'll talk off about that process. But during that was like the initial light bulb for Q and Dion know this part about that was like the light bulb of, this is not it. Right. No. Because like that whole thing of being sick. But then, so once I realized that and I got real with myself, that's when I started making those. And the crazy thing was, it wasn't anything big. I literally just started creating content based off of my healing. And then everything kind of shifted very, very quickly. Being honest and open was the catalyst. That's what I would say.
That's tough.
And that's hard for a lot of people to do.
Because you have to want people to look at you. It's like, kind of view yourself from this, like you said, from the seat. But you're like a multifaceted person, which means that there's no way for you to view yourself from every seat in the house. The only seat you can view yourself from is the one that you're sitting in, which means that, like, I have to give to all parts of myself, because the person that I'm gonna hit on the left side of the room is gonna receive it differently from the person that I hit on the right side of the room. And it's not my job to interpret how they might receive it. It's my job to be as authentic as possible. Yeah. And hope that everybody get the message that they need to receive. So I've definitely saw the shift, even in your content, between like, I'm trying to cater it to this one group down the center. Yep. Boom, these people gonna love it. It's like, but what about everybody else in your peripherals? It's like, don't worry about that. Let God take care of that. Let him use you. Let him, and the only way he can use you is open up your heart and just talk about whatever's in there. You know, so.
Yeah, that's so that in therapy, this is what I would encourage everyone to do. If you don't feel like yourself, we'll tie this into the 988 thing we discussed before of like dealing with your own mental well-being. It's very serious, and a lot of times people don't realize you're in bad work situations, you're in bad relationships. That is a real issue that you can't just ignore and be like, oh, I'll just get through it. You know, I'll pray to God and God will help me get through it. Sometimes you need to do the steps, because faith without works is dead. You still have to take action. You can't just sit there and be like, God got me. He's going to take care of it. Nah, so I went to therapy. And then I use my videos as a form of therapy and healing for me to create content that made me feel better. I didn't worry about the rest of the world. It was like, well, what's going to help you heal so you can actually help more people? I'd always say at the end of the videos, make sure you keep your cup full. Like you can't, you can't give love with an empty heart. So what fills my heart is me giving to other people. But I know my day has to start with me giving to myself. I can't just be like, I'm going to give and I haven't replenished anything. It's like in fitness, you cannot go train 3 sessions and you have not eaten. You haven't
Right.
taken in any fuel. And we oftentimes try to keep going with no fuel. And then you're like, oh, I'll just drink some water. I'll be fine. That water might sustain you for a little while, but you go ahead and try to lift 315 on an empty stomach when you ain't eating, or Diaz try to squat 405 when he ain't eat no food. They take no carbs in. Your body gonna fall apart. So I think that our life falls apart when we don't replenish ourselves, and we see it often. You'll probably see people lashing out on social media. They fighting in relationships because you're empty and you taking your emptiness into a scenario where you feel like this person's supposed to fix it. Well, their job isn't to fix you. You still have to work on yourself. You can't pour all of yourself into somebody else and you're not giving anything to yourself. So now it's like you see in relationships, that person's working on themselves and then the other person is also working on them. But then then you feel empty, like you go out of it like, wait, how does this work? Like I'm empty. Their situation is better. They done got the new bag and the trips and whatever. And now you feel like, but I was giving all of myself. I gave you what I had. So you got to make sure your cup is full.
Yeah, and
I know. I done talk forever. I had another question for y'all.
Okay.
All right. So last question. 3 parties online. How might? Oh, let's say okay. How might your expectation of okay, let me reword it. Would you admit that you have had unrealistic expectations for your other half?
The queen's first.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, like you said, and I think that when your cup is empty, it kind of sneaks up on you if you're not paying attention. And there are times where your cup will be empty and you're expecting your partner to fill it and they're not filling it and you're getting upset about it. Or they are filling it, but it ain't the gas that you need and you're upset about it. Or, it's like no matter what they do, they can't do anything right because you're not doing right by yourself. And I think that the minute this starts to happen too much, where you start to lean on someone else for your happiness, it's only a recipe for disaster. Foundation needs to be strong on both sides, so I've definitely had expectations of Q to do things in the way that I wanted it done. And if he didn't do it in that way, you was going to hear it, you was going to feel it, you was going to see it, it's going to be all over my face, it's going to be like, okay. And then I got to the point where I realized that, damn, this man loves me so much that I'm creating these unrealistic expectations of him, and he's still trying to meet them. And that made me have some empathy in my heart because I was like, what other man do you know that you're going to create unrealistic expectations and they're going to try to meet it? One or two things is going to happen. This person isn't for you because you're creating an expectation that they can't reach, or you need to reevaluate what's important, and for me, I definitely do that every single day because we think so differently. I have to correct my mind every day. I feel like there's an angel and there's a little brat in my head, and my brat can't stand you. Like, why you let him? And I always got to shut that voice down. He's like, no, this person loves me. And with love, that's the fertile ground for anything to grow. So the minute that you realize that your partner loves you, it kind of gives you grace to give them grace. And I would have these talks in my head. I would literally be having this self-dialogue. It's like, okay, so you wanted him to do it like this, but he did it like that. Or he didn't do it at all. And instead of giving him time to express oh, I didn't get it done because I had a stomach ache. Why was this? You just jump to the conclusion see, can't get it done. You can't do. But then I was like, where else does that show up in my own mind about me? It shows up about me towards me, where I'm like, oh, you ain't get that done. You ain't do that right. You ain't. So it's always a judge and a jury in my head critiquing
You telling me you took accountability for your own stuff? What?
My own stuff.
It took a
I
minute.
took accountability.
That's big, man. That's so big.
I was like, where does this show up? Where else have you seen this happen? Is there any expectations that you haven't reached for yourself? I'm like, damn, every day. Every day I'm knocking on the door of my own mind, trying to beat somebody up for something not being done. And the minute I realized that, I had so much more empathy, so much more like grace for him, and just being like, yo, you know what? I get it. And I see your effort. It may be, we maybe have some more steps to take, but the fact that you're even taking the steps with me lets me like kind of ease off the gas a little bit and give space. And you're a man. It's like, as a woman, I had to get to a point where it's like, you don't need to be telling this man what you expect and don't expect all the, it's like, find that balance. Find the balance, know your partner, know their language, speak the language, make sure they understand it. And wherever there's that gray area, fill it with love, fill it with grace, fill it with forgiveness, you know? So, and the most important thing is having that conversation with yourself. I was just seeing all the places where I was dropping the ball, but I wanted him to dribble like Jordan. I'm like,
Right.
bitch, you out here,
Right.
you out here fucking Westbrook and talking about why you ain't win a championship. I'm like, this is why. So you gotta chill, and yeah, that's what I learned.
All right, I want to go to Diaz, then Q. I'm gonna come back to you. I want to hear Diaz. His wife was just in the background. I was gonna try to pull her on screen, but you know, tell sis I said hi.
All right. Repeat the question, Ethan.
Have you ever had unrealistic expectations of your other half?
Oh gosh.
Every night.
And I'll say, I was coming out of a marriage, right? And I went through, a divorce, and already being married, I wasn't interested in people trying to be in relationships. I'm looking for a wife. I'm not looking for a girl. You know what I mean? So what I needed to understand was the tools were there, but we had to put them together, right? And the one thing that helped me understand and slow down was the fact of the matter is I wasn't always where I am now. I went through a lot of counseling in the church and everything like that to learn and become a better man, because there was a lot of things, even though I was in a lopsided marriage, there's a lot of things I could have done better for myself. You know what I mean? So when I got with her, the last thing I wanted her to feel was insecure, because I'm somebody she never been, she never had this type of energy, she never had this type of personality, you know what I mean? Like I never wanted to be like where I came from anyway. You know what I mean? So I don't glorify what I've been through, what I've experienced. I glorify figuring out how to be a man, figuring out how to be, and it wasn't even for people. It was for, I want kids and I want to be a good husband. And that's my goal, is to figure that out. And what came with that was me being a good man. So, for her, I had a lot of expectations. I mean, she can tell you, I had a lot, and I really had to lead by example, because I felt like I wasn't losing her, but her self-esteem was going down. And I'm you know me, Houston, I don't want to say it's, again, I'm from New York, man. It is what it is. And I didn't know till I went to other places. Like, we just got a lot of energy. We just got some people overconfident, but I think it's more just a cultural thing. And I said, that's not going to work. I got to do some reevaluating. So I really got to back off and give her an opportunity to be the woman she needs to be. And, the only thing that I was making sure we had in common was that, I go to church. This is important to me. This is my foundation for my family. Are you with it or not? And if you are, I'm willing to be the man you need to be. Don't worry about me cheating, entertaining women. I'm a grown man. That's for children. That's for boys. I'm not into that. I'm into building this legacy, building this empire, and handing something off to our kids. And, we had the conversation. She agreed to the terms and conditions. I agreed to hers, and we made it happen. But it is a business. You know what I mean? Marriage is a business, right? You don't wake up and be like, I'm good. Like, everything's cool. No, because guess what? You're going to lose profit. You're going to lose interest, or you're going to lose, you know what I mean? Like, people are just going to try and buy you out, take your spot. And I think it's very important that we understand, like, listen, it's cool to be confident. I can be single and easily be confident what people see, but the inside, I'm not confident at all. I want you to think that. I want to be that person you see anywhere and be like, yeah, there's something about this dude. You know what I mean? But being that person really helped. I mean, she really helped me in ways that no other woman ever did. And the funny thing is, it wasn't even like the relationship stuff that it was really how to love, right? You know, how not to be so, you know, when you're talking to me, you know, you don't have to talk down on me. And I didn't do that on purpose. I just came from an environment where there was always yelling and hostility, and that's how people communicated. But I said, you're right, because I never want you to feel like I'm not a threat to you at all. You know what I mean? I don't want you to feel intimidated. And so I had to do a lot of, you know, evaluation. Houston, man, I got a list, but luckily, you know, God was able to help me be patient and understand, like, it don't work my way. And first of all, there's some stuff you need to work on for yourself. So all the expectations you got for her, look yourself in the mirror and fix what you need to fix, because you out here pointing fingers and you got a lot of work to do yourself. And that was humbling. You know what I mean? So, and she can account for it. She could.
I'm surprised she's not jumping in the conversation right now.
No,
I know. Eventually, she gonna pop in the background, be like, "Yep."
That's dope.
Oh, good, man. It's good to have these type of dialogues. I think from the messages I receive, it's helping a lot of people to kind of sort out some of their own thought processes. And I wanted to have dialogues with people that were doing things in a healthy way, you know, and not just for show, like actively working on themselves. I know Diaz personally. Now I got the chance to get to know Dion and Q personally, and seeing how y'all navigate, and now hearing how y'all navigate. Like, you can tell it's not like a false, we're doing this for the camera. This is like, no, this is something we work on every day. So I think that's good to see. And also what Dion said earlier, like showcasing, like, you know, we want to showcase more of a positive narrative instead of, like, you know, the fact that we know there's other things going on. Everything ain't Ratchet TV. You know what I mean? Everything ain't, he just gonna take me on a trip, and if he ain't taking me on a trip, he ain't real. Or I seen something yesterday that said, if he's serious about getting my number, he need to cash out. I see. That was a real thing.
Oh
and
my
she was serious.
Well, and that's the problem with the generation these days. That's one part, which is like women are being taught, you know, to.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at Dion's face right now.
Right. We know where that face is coming from, but it's like it's been this generation, man. This generation's getting real finicky, where it's like,
is it just this generation though? Because I've seen some people that are literally in our age bracket or older that are still doing this. Like, Dion, what do you think is happening from a woman's perspective? Because I try to make sense of it, and I don't always want it to be like guys just having dialogue surrounding women doing things that are kind of like seem odd. It's not even like it just doesn't seem like a realistic type of thing. But what is your take on it?
It's so funny that you say that, because Q and I were having this conversation yesterday, and the best way I can put it is, when you go and you log on to the news, right, and you listen to the news, story after story, this person died, 100% survived, or this person is a fire, or the stock market is down, or, you know, they're fighting politically. Always bad news. It's just like, you never hear like, oh, a cat got saved out the tree. Like, oh, this person, Most good news you hear is like the weather and somebody won the lottery. Other than that, it's like there to create this cortisol release in your mind. That's 10% of what's happening in the actual world. But 90% of the people are focused on it. So it's the same thing. And I feel like a lot of women who aren't self-aware, they're like, what are guys interested in? Let me see what guys like. 90% of guys you go on their social media is nothing but ass and titties and ass, little stocks, little basketball, ass and titties and ass and titties. And so it's like, oh, that's what they like. Cool. Let me go study those women. I go to their page. He got to cash at me this. I'm the baddest bitch. Look at me. I'm on the beach. I'm in this. 5 million likes. 20,000 likes. 60,000 likes. And those dudes who like all those pictures is the same one talking about, where the real ones at? I'm looking for a real one. It's like, yeah, but this is not the energy that you're putting out into the universe. And a lot of people don't have that grounding to be like, fuck what everybody else is doing. We are pack animals. Whatever everybody else is doing, I'm going to do. So you have Megan Thee Stallions of the world, the Cardi B's of the world, the Glorrillas and the City Girls, and they're #1, millions and millions of views, millions and millions of dollars, millions and millions of attention. And they're saying that. And there are people who like, yo, that's the baddest bitch. She's dope. So if I'm not a person who's a free thinker, I'm going to go and I'm going to say, that's what guys, there it is, duh. Why didn't I think of this the whole time? This is exactly what dudes want. And it'd be the most God.
Yeah, I think we had a conversation, me, Q, and Diaz. I think we made reference to this the last talk we had, and it was like, I don't think any of us want, I know we don't want that. That's not what we that's not the focal point of like, all right, that's gonna be longevity. I don't think when I see that, it's like, yes, it may be appealing. I had a conversation with my brother, and I said, here's the thought process of the things that we see on social. It's like that thing is nice. You have like two sides of your brain. You like, oh, I'm gonna look at this thing because it's arising or it's releasing this this serotonin, or I feel good from looking at this visually, right? The aesthetics of it, you know, the shape, the butt, the breast, the smile, the makeup, the whatever. I'm looking at that. But and then you have the other side is like longevity. You never see longevity in this thing. You see like a train wreck, because it's almost like, I wish my brother was on. It was like, you want to marry the woman that you want to marry. You have this vision of like, she can be beautiful, she can be all those things if that's who she wants to be. But that's literally what happens over and over. That's from social media. Is you never marry the person that's doing that ever.
I mean, I get that. Like a lot of men have very split energy, where it's just like, I like this all day, but in my subconscious, in my heart, when I talk to my niggas in the barbershop or in my quiet moments, I want this. But all day, I'm focused on that. And if a woman sees that pattern in a man, she's only gonna try to appeal to. If all men were like, we don't like that shit is whack, y'all bitches is whack, we not taking y'all nowhere, no trips, no nothing, I guarantee you would stop. Because guess what? They're not doing it and not getting a response. Someone is responding. So it's like, because there's a response, and again, if I'm a female who's not in tune with me, I'm in tune with whoever got the biggest numbers, I'm gonna go follow that. So I think we're like gender effect, and like we're kind of like holding ourselves in our own prison. I was like telling Q, I was like, what you choose to focus on intensifies. So the minute you say, what's up with all these girls, man? What's up with da-da-da-da-da? Like, these bitches ain't shit. That's 10%. It's the news. That's 10% of women. There are 90% of women out here who are not gold diggers, who will hold dudes down, who do they have no money, I'ma still hold, but nobody's talking about, nobody has a podcast talking about that. We only talking about, you know what I mean? So how, this is what you're putting out into the society, and then you expect someone to think that, oh, these are multifaceted beings. He might like titties and ass, but what he really wants is a church woman who's covered up, even though I ain't never seen him like a covered up picture. It's like, at some point, we all have to take responsibility for our stuff, like you said. No woman, I guarantee you, is gonna do that if a man says that's not what I'm looking for. But they,
what if the guy, like, let's say he meets someone that looks like that, and then he's trying to like, all right, I want to settle down and get you know, want longevity. Would you say, let's say the guy says, I want you to shift. Can you stop dressing so provocatively? Can you stop doing? Diaz is shaking his head. No. Can you stop? Can you stop doing? Hold on. Go ahead, Diaz. Go ahead.
That's grew in the middle of the statement.
Listen. I'm gonna get reality. So I tell people, and I'm not speaking from no studies, right? I'm not speaking from sitting down. I'm speaking from experience. I wasn't always married, and about 4 years to, I guess, do my thing, right? And there's one thing I realized, right? I'm that guy, I'm an athlete, I'm at Syracuse University, right? But everything I was doing and all the energy I was putting out was from insecurity. And what really bothered me was the fact that it made me, listen, if you're attracted to me because I wear Jordans, then you're not for me, right? If you're attracted to me because you like black, then you're not for me, right? And as bad as, listen, the small voices speak loud is what she's saying. You know what I mean? Because unfortunately, not everyone's like that. However, the algorithm is controlled that way to make it think that it's everybody. And I tell people this, right? Because I'm very conscious about, you know, I see people dating, you know, I talk to my clients, oh, I'm seeing such and such, And I'm just trying to put things together. Like, wait, but you just said you don't want to be married, but you're in a long-term relationship. Like, you got to figure this out. Like, you're not making sense. I don't think people need to stop dating as a hobby, and people should literally go in with intent, or don't date at all, because you're wasting one of their times. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's getting their time wasted because you want to have fun. But I said, at what point do you stop and say to yourself, okay, what am I looking for? So let me write that down. I want a man to store, da, da, da. You might not get that exact man, but God has a funny way of putting that in front of you. And I think a lot of people are so caught up with trying to be, the Cardi B's and all of that. Listen, I promise you, Cardi B is from the Bronx. Without music, Cardi B would be an average girl. I promise you. You know what I mean? She was nothing ever. And it's like, fame really.
Diaz, Cardi B is married with 3 children. And she's talking about, you can't do this, you can't, nigga gotta do it. Girl, that's not the reality that you're living. This is a propaganda. They're pushing an agenda of what we want.
Exactly.
As low frequency music keeps, one thing about music is it changes people, right? You can listen to a song like, yo, that song changed my life. Like, yeah. If I go to this person's concert, I'll cry. Like, my heart is open because of whatever. And the powers that be know that. So, like, let's keep the music at a certain frequency so these people never grow beyond their circumstance.
No.
It's only going to double down where we want you to be. It takes a person who's self-aware, a man and a woman, to be like, I'm not dressing like Megan. I'm not dressing like her. I'm not listening to that music anymore. But it also takes a self-aware man to be like, I'm not running after those girls that follow that type of thing. Because what happens is you got the nails, you got the hair, you got the eyelashes, you got the, oh, she's the baddest bitch, I want her. It's like, but deep down that that's not the person. Because what happens is it's the same thing on the other side, like a man, right? I want the man who's successful. He's got the jewels, he's got the ring, he don't care about your well-being. It's like, I got all this by myself. And now you want to come in here and talk about trying to change me? It's like, no, it don't. Ask me to stop fucking these other. It's like, what do you mean? I'm a grown ass man. I'm a wealthy. I'm a successful man. So the likelihood of me committing to you one-on-one is small. But 90% of the women want that 1% of man that's not even looking for them, and vice versa. It's like the man wants the hottest girl, but it's like, I got all these things. I got all these accolades without doing the changes that you're asking me for. So it's good to find somebody to meet. Like, you got to be equally yoked. Is what God says. Like, be equally yoked. Meet somebody on your frequency of where you're at. Not where you want to be, but kind of closer to where you're at, and then grow together. Because for sure. One thing for sure, 2 things for certain is if you find somebody that's already made it and they have characteristics that you're trying to change, that's the hardest thing to do, is to pull them in the opposite direction. It's better to do it while the ground is fertile. By that time where they're ready where they're at, their ground is hardened. It's like, I've been doing this and I am who I am. It's like, you can't ask a girl to change, but because you walked in knowing who she was and she was unapologetic about who she was. She said that out loud on a major, she didn't say like, yo, I'm trying to change. Like, I want to be different. I'm showing you actions to change. Those are the people who have potential. But the girl who thinks she's the baddest bitch and everybody treats her such, please don't try to get in her way. Please don't try to be the person talking about wear this or wear that. And it's the same thing as a guy. The guy who's got all the money, all the accolades, has all the women, please don't try to make him monogamous. Don't try to make him your husband. It's not going to work. It's like, so on both sides, I feel like people in general, they just always looking for the next best thing as opposed to just being present of where they are and what can your credit score afford you? Don't go searching for the Lamborghini. You're going to fuck around and have bad credit. It's like, that's the only thing that's going to happen. You're going to try to make these payments and you can't make them. So, like, the Lamborghini is still the Lamborghini. That's for somebody else. There's my grandma said there's a piece of cheese for every moldy bread, in the sense of, like, there's someone for everyone. That bad chick that's like, he got to take me there. He got to somebody's going to cash app her. It's the dude that cashed up 7 other women before her, before he cashed app you. Yep. It's not the dude who's trying to grow with you and build with you and, like, build a legacy with you. That's not the person that you need to be focused on. Mm-hmm. But know that there's somebody for that person and there's also somebody for you. So
to piggyback on what she's saying, my thoughts on it is I do agree with her. I do think that they highlight people that are not examples of someone with good character. Is more superficial. Hey, she got ass. She look
the shiniest.
Sets will always sell. That will never change. So it's not about like, hey, stop liking sexy stuff. Men, like you said, there's a part of our mind that's like, that's sexy, great. Like, doesn't mean like I want you to make my wife. I don't even mean I want to DM it or anything. It's like I'm acknowledging that looks good. That's very pleasing and stuff. But I do think that women will misinterpret those likes for character equality. It's like, oh, that's the type of person I need to be. I gotta show more ass, and then men will respect me. We didn't say when we hit the like button that we respected you. We didn't say like, yeah, that's the wife right there. We just said, yo, she got a nice body. Great. Boom, we go on about our day and stuff like that. So I can see, I think that Instagram, the sad thing about like social media, if used the wrong way, is one of the 7 deadly sins, jealousy, envy. So what it does is it put these likes up and put them in the top of the algorithm, and it makes everybody jealous and envious of someone with no character, no backbone, because you're misinterpreting what those likes mean. All the likes means like, in a perfect situation, I'd probably have sex with. Don't mean I would make you my wife, my baby's mother. Don't mean I respect you. Don't mean that I would put you over the person I'm dating now. And it's a lot of women that haven't gotten rooted in their identity yet will fall for that. And that's why this whole BBL game is coming down, or cosmetic, because everybody looked at the Kardashians like, oh, that's what I gotta do. I gotta make a sex tape and get a fake body, and then they'll respect me. And it's like, yo, like, no, actually, that's actually not what to do. And you can see right now the aftermath of all that superficiality between, them and Kanye.
But that's the thing. It's like those women, when I work at my job and those type of women walk in, all the dudes head turned. Great. All the dudes is looking. We don't know if they looking like, oh, that's disgusting or whatever, but dudes walk up to them. They're buying them drink. Like, it's a self-perpetuated thing. It's like, yeah, you saying you don't like this, but there's that frequency match. There's someone on the other side who's willing to contribute to that behavior, and it's never going to change. Your goal is to focus on what you want as opposed to focusing on what doesn't work for others. Because what happens is, like, it's the law of attraction. One person I'm like, look at that. Oh, that's nasty. And then you look, and then Diaz look, and then, JT looks. Now all of us is looking at that thing as opposed to keeping your mind on your own fucking paper. You see her walk by, okay, that's cool. But men, I think because they're so sexually driven, like, they think that they can separate it. But you can. But yes. What happens is you confuse women. It's always going to be a confusion if you don't put it like on the forefront. Like, that's not what I'm into, especially if you have a partner. It's like, that's not what I'm into. That's not what I do. You're always going to confuse a woman. Like, oh, that's what you like? Let me give you more. Even your algorithm do it. You like one picture of a girl naked, they're going to show you 3 more pictures like it. Oh, that's what you like? Cool. Everything in life works that way. Whatever you focus on grows. If you don't want it to grow, stop. Don't focus on it. If you do want it to grow, keep focusing.
It's true.
You're absolutely right. That's why I always talk about, like, first thing in the morning, what you watching, what you're going into in social media, like what you follow. Like, those things are going to pop up in your feed. Like, social media becomes part of your life. Don't follow things that are going to be in your feed. If it's negative, if it's shady news, if it's drama, if you're following that stuff, you're going to see it. And that is your food. So it's like eating bad food. You're going to end up with the gut. You eat the bad things, you're going to have a toxic mindset. The way you talk will be, the way you see the world is going to be toxic. So, yeah, you definitely got to focus on that. But real quick, before we get on, I have something. Go ahead, Dio.
I just have a slight solution. Women do this all the time. Men think it's crazy and it's stupid. It's like, no, I'm not going that far. But a burner account, in the sense of, like, I have an account that's for the debauchery and the bullshit so I know, like, I'm intentionally logging into this, versus, like, having everything in one. And it's like, you can't control what the algorithm's going to throw at you now, because you liking a little bit of everything. You might get 1 stock, 8 women, 1 basketball, you know what I mean? So a lot of women that I know, they're like, oh, I have a burner account. When I go over here, I know that I'm looking at specifically this, and it never interferes with. Now, that's some cat energy where it's like, cover your litter, you cover your tracks, they move in a certain way. And it doesn't have to be for a sneaky reason, but it's literally to parse out your mind and be like, listen, I'm not about to put my whole feed. Maybe I like 3 pictures. And that's why I said men don't want to do that. They're like, I'm not having a burner account.
You see Diaz is like, no.
People have more practical ways of doing it. You can mute an account. You can set bookmarks for pages. Like, if you I want to know more knowledge about money, I go to my bookmark, money, boom, look at the accounts. That's what I want to look at. if I'm going to Instagram and I have a leisure time, my leisure time on Instagram is probably 5 to 7 minutes. I scroll, oh, it's nice. Okay, whatever, it's not important, I move on. And if I'm moving with intent, if I'm hopping on social media because I want to see certain content, I have bookmarks to look at that. And it can be beautiful women, it could be money, it could be sports, it can be.
But that's what I'm saying. You don't know how the algorithm is going to jumble that up to show you what it wants to show you. But they have their own way of showing. So, for example, a burner account is not necessarily like, oh, I'm sneaking around. So we have 2 accounts, right? We have Manifest Destiny, which is our clothing line. I have Dion Hart, which is my specific line. He has Quinn. That's 3 different accounts. If we were operating as, you could choose like, okay, this Manifest is going to be all about clothing. I only want manufacturers of clothing and different quotes about how to get further my clothing business to pop up on this one. We got, our couples page. Our couples page is only going to be asses and bitches and trips and all, you know what I mean? So you can separate it. I'm not saying this is an example, this is a solution for everyone, but it's a possibility. In the myriad of different things that we're doing, it's like, it takes 0 time for you to put one picture and be like, okay, this is the type of things I want to see. When you guys do double click twice and it takes you to that other page, you're like, all right, I'm going to spend 10 minutes here. Set a timer, 10 minutes. Do what you need to do, and you come back to your reality. That's a way of separating it. It's just an idea. Just put the
What's your thought? What's your thought, Antonio?
Listen,
I'm like, no, I want the bitches on my timeline.
Like, I wish most men got to the point and seen, like, listen, and you know me, Houston. I'm that dude. We at the bar, and you talk about women. I'm married. I don't care about what you're talking about. You know what I mean? That's not, you've never ever seen me look at, when we went on trips, look at, entertain, none of that. You want to know why? Because I think about what I'm thinking about. So, okay, like, I do 55 years old. I'm at the gym, lady walk by in yoga pants. Now I'm a professional bodybuilder. I seen the best body, like, glutes built from work and all that, right? But I said, at the end of the day, if you really think about it, it's just a sport. Right? You go to a volleyball game, okay, they wish, man. Like, why am I fascinated with that? Because I have no self-control. So, again, and that's why, for me, I rely on my faith. I think it's very important when you see something that's appealing to you, right? And to me, really simple. If my wife said, would I look at this? But that says something about my character. If I even got to go that far, what is wrong with me? And the one thing I remember my pastor telling me is this: listen, when I walk on campus, I have blinders. And I said, I never want to have blinders. I want to be like, if I walk into Nike, right? I don't like Feli. I'm not even entertaining it. You get what I'm saying? If I walk in, I see girls wearing all, listen, people think I go in the gym, you can message me in the DMs and all. I'm not, I said, listen to Houston, I really said this. Lady messaged me, oh, this is it. I said, we ain't even going to do all that. We ain't even going in. But I said, even if you're like, I want to entertain it, be the person you want to be. Because I do believe with a world that's being controlled by social media and a narrative from people who know what they're doing to try to keep us asleep, even though they're woke, they're trying to keep us asleep, you will never be able to get to where you want to get to. And if you allow yourself to believe that you can fight this, you can't. Listen, Instagram is cool. You know what I mean? When I get the money I want, somebody's going to manage my account because I know the objective. If I'm having a bad day, somebody happened to pop up that gave me a tip. Now it's a mind game. If you're not correct, you're going to entertain that. I've experienced that in my younger years where it's like your emotions can play on you. And now look, Satan then seeing, all right, this is my opportunity. So now that same girl, I'm going to throw at him, right? Let's see how he acts. And, for men, unlike women, Beetlejuice. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not ready, you will definitely act on something. You're not prepared.
You have to know that you're a 1%er. You have to know.
I know. No.
It's like there's not a lot of people who think like you, who move like you, who have the discipline that you have. That's why you have the body you have. That's why you have the family that you have. That's why you have the lifestyle that you have. We're talking to the layman who is like, no matter what I did, there's no way I can look like Antonio or I can have that. Like, my mind is just, because this society teaches people to have a lazy mind. So it's like, that's why everybody is a fucking guru. 10 tricks and hacks, 7 ways, 100, get fit in 60 seconds. It's like, people want that microwave food. So it's like.
So let me ask you this. So do you think that everybody has the potential to do better?
Yes.
Okay. So just what you agreeing to that. Now, my mindset is the fact that there's that possibility you're taking the wrong avenues to get there. That's why you're failing. Some people don't understand it's a journey and you will fail, but that's going to get you stronger. Listen, it's the, when I meet people, they probably, if they didn't know my past, they're like, oh, you probably had your mother, your father, you grew up in this and that. I seen the complete opposite of everything. And when you're in a dark place and you're like, yo, like, this is like people looking at me like I'm not, you know what I mean? I just hated the way I was getting looked at school. People looked at me in public, like the person I'm acting like, the way women are treating me. Like, I didn't like that person. And I said, you haven't gotten hurt enough to acknowledge what you're doing is childish. Really, you haven't been through enough stuff. So let's take a personal training, for example. I get somebody, right? They got all this energy. I'm like, listen, we're going to take it one step out. No, I want to get in and get it. Next week, you out for 3 months because you try to be super.
Yeah, that's real.
Had this unrealistic, I don't know, ideology from what you've seen on this or that, and you just got to be real with yourself, right? Think about what you're.
To your point, it's just as realistic for someone to think that, for example, like there are some people who love the taste of McDonald's, who are not giving up their pig's feet, who not giving up their pork rinds. I love this. This makes me feel good. I enjoy it. And not only do I enjoy it, everything that society shows me that I'm doing the right thing. So it's kind of, you get to a point where that voice kind of gets muffled out and it sounds like water. It's like you underwater. Like that consciousness part, like, you probably shouldn't eat this. You probably shouldn't go there. That voice goes underwater after a while because your body is a muscle. It's a muscle group. It's a large ass muscle. So whatever you focus on, even if you focus on, fatiguing it and making it stronger, it's going to grow that way. And if you focus on making it the other way and making it weak, it's going to stay that way. Mm-hmm. So I think we have to find it because we're higher thinking beings, right? So we think like, duh, why doesn't everybody know this? This is easy shit. And it's like, no, there's a middle ground where it's like, I can kind of intrigue the people up here, down there, and I can also appeal to the people up here, and I think there's like this large gap in between the people who are striving for their goals and the people who are completely lost. And one method is not going to work for both people. You have to find a way, something in the middle that this going to work for this set of people and this going to work for that set of people. So I just want to make it realistic because we're kind of like type A personality people where it's like, get it done. You wake up, you got your dry erase board, you got da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's great. You built that over time. But what about the person who's on day one, who all their friends around them is thinking like they think, who their partner thinks like they think, who their friends, their family, their uncle, sister, their cousin, they drown in this negative environment or this low frequency. It's like, what's my first step? It ain't.
You're absolutely right. And the biggest thing I battle with is this. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely transparent. When people say stuff like, oh, I can't, I'm like, yo, listen, you understand what our ancestors went through in this country? I hear what you're saying. But do you understand the amount of gifts and ability you are given? Now, here's the thing. You talk about the bunch of followers. I get it. But if someone said you keep eating McDonald's, you're going to die in 5 years. Now, the good thing we know is this. Most people will be like, you know what? I got to figure this out. Then that small percentage would be like, listen, I'm going to die anyway, so whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
right.
People aren't for me. But I will never meet somebody and be like, you know what? You're just not going to be able to lose weight because you got a thyroid issue. I'm like, nah, this is what we're going to do. Let's break this down as if you have anxiety. We're going to deal with this step by step because you can do it. People that want to lose, I get clients who, oh, I'm trying to lose weight. I don't want to do, I'm like, all right, bet. Listen, I'm going to put you on the treadmill. You're going to walk put the incline up a little bit and walk. And every day we're going to increase it by a point. And the next minute, you're running. Because working with behavioral kids, I've seen kids change in front of my face. And the one thing I was told was, you never know who can change. So never put a limit on it. Yep. So I go in thinking like, well, maybe, like in my situation with my wife, like I never went in like, maybe she can't get there. I went in like, listen, we're going to figure this out. And God going to hit me, I'm going to get back up. And you know what I mean? We're going to figure this out. And we figured it out. But it's because I had to do that since I was 5 years old, yeah. Right? When you go through enough stuff, you're not entertaining the nonsense. You're not going to do it. So all of these women out there, and I tell them, it's funny when you meet people, oh my gosh, I wish such and such was like you. And I'm like, no, you don't. You really don't, because he's not gonna. You don't want him to go through what I went through, and I think this way for a reason. I never want to be an imposter. I never want to be that dude like, oh, Diaz had an affair on this. That's not me, and I keep that in the back of my mind because I'm like, I want my kids to be successful, and I know at least if I be the man they need to be, they have a chance. So that helps keep me grounded, and maybe people don't have that why, but I do know it's somewhere in here, and we all can find it. Now, and some may take longer, but I never say to anyone, I got my clinician, my coordinators that I train rough around the edges. I'm not gonna fire you. Let's figure out what's going on here. So your negative encounters we need to fix. Let's do some role playing. Like there's ways. Like Jesus figured out plenty of, like, listen, the dude walking around like and just healing people and doing all of that. He never looked at it like I can't do that. You get what I'm saying? Like we have the capability just from our circumstances. Look, we're probably doing better than most of our family. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we're not even close to our potential yet. And just think about what we can do if we continue to go and grow and show people, yeah, we're black, we can work together, we can coexist, and we can help each other. That changed the whole culture.
Right.
Back, they just did what's the name? They said back in the day, you can be in New York City and sleep in a park, jewelry on and everything, never be robbed. You try that today, you get killed. So they the culture, but it's our responsibility to change it back. And I believe we can. From dating, more black people were married back in the day than any other what's the name. So I'm like, if we did it before, we can do it again. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying everybody's faithful, but I'm like, we need to step up the expectation for our people and what we can do, because I'm tired of playing small. And there's some great people out there that 90% really need our help. So I don't know. We got a job to do, huh?
Dia said, no, I'm going to speak on this one.
I believe what even meeting you, like I'm like, yo, this dude been through so much stuff and he never made an excuse. You know what I mean? Like, never made an excuse. You listen, we were at the gym every day, 5 o'clock. I'm like, I know what my why is. What is his why? Showed up every day, then showed up for good to work, then showed up for his classes. And that was motivating for me. You know what I mean? But again, you're right. Not everybody could hang with us. But that's because they were trying to be like us. They were trying to be like us. No, be like you. If all you could do is walk around your house, that's your exercise. At least you exercising. You know, but if you're gonna be like, yo, listen, there's lost hope, I'm gonna just eat this Swinkie and watch these and binge on these on Netflix. You know, you just profess with your mouth what your future is. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm optimistic or just I'm not pessimistic, but I do believe that we all are kings and queens, and we can really just, be whatever we.
Kings and queens. I love the sentiment. It sounds great.
I think that you are optimistic and realistic. I think that everybody has a life journey in this life, and some people will be janitors for the rest of their life. And that's okay because that was their life path.
And we need janitors. It's like we need the ant farm to do the work. Everyone can't be a king and a queen. So then who are we ruling over if everyone's a king and everyone's a queen? It's like you got, sorry, I don't want to cut you out.
What I wanted to say is that when we say king and queen, I know we use it we use it pretty loosely. The way I view life is, some people have life paths, things that were meant to be their purpose, and it could be as simple as you're going to be a painter for the rest of your life. You're going to be a construction worker or a janitor or a person that fixes transmissions. But within that frequency of your purpose, there's a low level, vibrational level of doing that, and there's a high vibrational level of what you do. And I think anytime you do something on a high vibrational level, God brings you bigger blessings. And so I think, it's not about like necessarily kings and queens, but depending on how much you're listening to God, depending on how much you're making the choices to do what's best for you in your lifetime. And that's the thing, as much as she talks about like people that are pretty much like zombies, like they're just following everything, even those people, God always speaks to them. Because guess what? If you say, I want to eat McDonald's every day like such and such. Okay, great. Now you have high blood pressure. The doctor will tell you, that's a message from God. Like, hey, I'm going to let you know you're heading down the wrong path. You have a choice now. It's like, okay, I'm going to keep heading down that path. Fuck it. Somebody tells you you're in a bad relationship. Hey, man, I'm not really feeling no girls. Maybe you should. You have a choice. Nah, I'm going to keep going. Fuck it. We always have checkpoints in life where we decide, no matter how much we may not be aware, there's always a checkpoint to say, hey, I'm going to let you know this is the path you're heading down. Okay, cool. I want to keep going. So I don't really view it from a standpoint of like people are lost as much as they are not listening and stuff. So because at some point in time, if you continue to do things that are self-destructive, you will start to see that mess. You'll be like, oh shit, oh, I'm starting to make a mess. And you have a choice. You can clean it up, or you can say, you know what, oh, I'm good. Let's keep going. Let's see what happens. And so as long as you follow those checkpoints and you decide to either course correct, or if you choose to keep going down a rabbit hole, the choice, God always gives you the choice. He's like, you want to keep going, go.
I just want to say one thing. I know JT wants to say something, and I know we're going to wrap soon, but the original point was these girls, right? And the things that they're doing and how we don't.
And guys, we take ownership too. So guys are doing,
okay.
Yep.
People, right? I personally do not believe that you can save everybody. I don't believe that. I believe that you can save those who have the propensity to be saved. Someone who wants to be saved, God will find a way to speak to them, whether it's through me or through you or through Q. God is going to find the message to get to them, but the message will not reach the person who's not ready for the elevation. We need janitors. We need aunts. We need the big booty girls. We need the rich. Everybody plays their own role. And it's like, find your tribe. I think humans have this very strong desire to save, like they have this Superman effect. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to save everybody. It's like, you cannot save. And if you are going to save everybody, how are you going to do it? One person at a time. So, you know what I mean? So that one chick or that one guy or girl who's doing something crazy, the energy that you spend focus on them is the same energy that you could have found to spend and focus on, like Dia said, my wife, my children, my next of kin, my friend who was like, bro, how do you get up so early? And how do you, but we spend so much energy looking at things that we don't want and expect it to go away. It's like, it's not going to go away. That's not our job. Our job is not to vanquish all the bad bitches and the rich niggas. It's like, that's not your job. Your job is to focus on you and save one person at a time. But we think we could save the whole earth. We could save the whole planet. It's like, so what's God's job if you're going to save everybody? So it's like, that's not your job.
Well, not everybody are seekers. You know, our job is to help seekers. So people that are seeking God, they find it in us. And they say, oh, that's how
like what Carolyn just said, I'm definitely looking for my tribe. Find your people and focus all your energy, as much energy as you can, on that. The minute you look outside of that, that's when you invite the devil in, like you said. That's when you invite in that temptation. You invite in all those things. You shouldn't even have an opinion about a bad bitch that look like whatever. I don't even have an opinion about it. It's like, I don't even see it. It doesn't even exist in my world because that's not what I'm looking at. That's not like what I'm trying to find. Because, and especially the more successful you get, the more powerful you get, the more people you have watching you, you are a manifester, which means that it don't take much for a little bit of energy creates a big ass explosion for people like us, where it's like, I've spent so much time learning how to use this manifestation tool. I've almost become like a Cyclops, where he gotta have the glasses on because if he don't, he's spraying the shit. So you look someplace, you may not want to grow a seed there, but you look there too long and what do you know? A seed is growing there. Yep. So you have to be, like Diaz said, that's when discipline steps in. That's when like mindfulness steps in. That's when like those blinders come on. So I don't even entertain that. But that's some high level shit. It takes time to get there. Find the people in the middle and pull them up. But you ain't gonna find people down here and try to pull them up. It's not your job.
And that's why it's important to have like positive surroundings. And I know a lot of the things that we talked about are, it's like sometimes you don't realize things until you're in a different environment or you hear different language, you have different conversations. Because if you're not in the room, it's like, all right, we all are on this path to become the first in our family too, right? The first in our family to become financially free or wealthy, right? The first in our family to really be healed and make sure that our kids are healed as well. And we teach them these skill sets. But a lot of that stuff doesn't come until you have different dialogue and getting around. That's why I hate the concept of no new friends. Let me tell you why. It's the stupidest thing ever, right? Your friends kept you where you were. You know what I mean? That circle that you were with, sometimes, unless you're like a LeBron James where his circle grew with him and they elevated each other now, right? But the way this world works, like had I not met Diaz, we wouldn't have these higher level conversations because we linked up those years ago and started working out and having different conversations. This is a new friend. now a lifelong friend and a brother. I met y'all, new friends, lifelong friendship, different conversations, higher thinking, right? Elevated thinking from having dialogue. But you won't get that from the environment that you may have been in growing up. Like if we never leave those environments, we still have the same way of thinking. We're gonna do the same old thing. So it goes back to like Dia saying, you know, the way he thinks now is based off of his personal experiences. The way I think now is based off of mine, Dion, Q. The way we all think now is based off of what we've gone through. Some of the people that will consistently do the thing where they're going to follow the girls and then trash the girls when they say no and then talk trash them, and then they get some money and then now they'll fly them out and cash app them and do the whatever because they always wanted, their thought process was I always wanted to have the girl with the big whatever and the looks or whatever. So they're going to keep doing it. And then there's going to be a girl that only has this environment where she was looked over or passed over or only told she was beautiful because of the way she looked, not internally. No one said your mindset is beautiful, your spirit is beautiful, your energy is beautiful, the way that you think. I love what you love about life. When someone doesn't hear those things and they only think of themselves for the exterior, their shell or how they look or how their body shape, then they're going to do things that promote that thing because that's how they get in the positive feedback or attention, which is good and bad. You know what I mean? You want to be told you're beautiful for the physical, but also be told beautiful because of your energy, your words, how you speak, how you handle situations. Like, I think of things as like, it got to be like it's full circle, right? I want to be a good person. I want to be an attractive person because of my words. I also want to be attractive because of how I appear to other people. So I make sure that I feel that for myself. A lot of times it's like a shallow. We're either looking at one thing or the other thing. Like you're either looking at their pockets, the financial piece, and you don't care what they look like, and they could be a horrible person. Or we only look at how someone looks, and they could still be a horrible person. You know what I mean? It's like a very odd balance in life. And I know now, based off of all the experiences that we've all had collectively, we can discern, all right, what makes the most sense for our life, you know, because we've all had all these little. So now you picking pieces because oftentimes I hear conversations of like a real relationship is a real it's all BS. Guess what? There was no blueprint. Everything we heard was there's bits and pieces of that were false. You know what I mean? Right. And also because everybody's so multifaceted and different, there is no one way to have a relationship anymore.
Right.
You just know you want a healthy, happy, positive, uplifting relationship, but you're going to find that in yourselves. You know what I mean? You guys are going to navigate that yourselves. You're not going to do it like the neighbor across the street is doing it. It might look good. You got the picket fence, but when they go in the house, they might not even talk to each other. How many times y'all went to dinner? I'll stop my tangent. Y'all went to dinner and y'all seen a couple sitting there either on their phone, not talking to each other,
yep. A lot,
or I watched the couple literally just sit there and eat. They look like they've been together 30 years. They were just eating, looking around. They never spoke. Yeah. But for them,
that's crazy.
That might work. That would never work. But I think of like, go ahead, Dion.
I also find a lot in the social media realm, the same thing you're talking about, where it's like, you see their page and like, damn, they look lit. They having such a great time, and it's always a turn up. And you get in their environment, and once that camera goes off, no interacting with each other, but they got 1 million followers based off the fact that they're supposed to be the fun one. But the camera goes off, and they're literally not even that person in real life. I've experienced that so many times. I'm like, yo, you're baiting people into this character that you created, but that's not who you are.
Yeah.
How many people y'all heard talk about healing and refuse to heal? Like you talking about healing, you can meditate, but it's zero healing. Like you're more toxic. Like I wasn't even being specific on that one, but in real life, that's real. Like you refusing therapy, you won't do anything to heal yourself, but you're projecting. You put on social media that, you know, I'm this. And as soon as the camera goes off, you like, F this, suck that. You're like, yo. It's just insane that everything, it's almost like there's no real life anymore and everything is just for a camera.
Those people, they're of what's really happening in this world. There are a lot of people healing, a lot of people in therapy, a lot of people tuned into this live, a lot of people searching, but somehow the algorithm, the powers that be, put those stories at the top to make us think that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like if you're a security guard at a club, your job is not to get the person in the back of the line. My job is to get in the person right in front, like work with what you got, in the sense of like, we look at these social media and we look at that and see and make an assumption about the whole world based off 10% of people. And it's like, it's unrealistic, and you gotta let it go, in the sense of like, and when I say let it go, it's like allow those people to live their journeys and sleep well, knowing that it has nothing to do with the next person I'm about to touch. It has nothing to do with the person who's about to log onto my live and be fucking saved. Like, we could talk about it, but once the conversation is done, I don't want to spend no more energy on those people, because when they get to the front of the line, I'll let them in. But they're not at the front of the line right now. I don't even got to focus on that, you know?
All right, real quick. This one is rapid fire. There's only 3 questions. We're going to wrap up after this. 3 questions. You cannot. Now, you have to answer the questions within 2 sentences. That is how the game is played. You get 2 sentences to answer these 3 questions. We're going to start with the lovely lady, of course. Fellas, y'all understand? That's how we do. All right, so here's question number 1. You got 2 sentences only, all right? You can go less than 2 sentences, but you cannot go over. All right. Okay. When and where did you go on your first date ever?
What?
I know, just throwing a monkey wrench in the plane.
Yes.
The funny thing is watching y'all think. Y'all like, wait, where did I go?
Where I went on my first date ever? Holy shit. To the beach.
Q. Go ahead, Dion.
I said that's easy. That's less than 1 sentence.
All right, Q.
My first official date was to the movies. She didn't tell me she was bringing her mother and brothers, though. It was a little embarrassing.
Yeah, that's fair. If it's your first date.
Yeah, first date. That makes sense.
Oh.
I get that. Diaz.
Diaz had the most time to think. He like, oh, here.
Yeah, no, because I mean, that's, man, shoot. I would probably say definitely was a restaurant for sure. But gosh, I ain't even that old, and I feel like it was a long time ago.
Yes, that's the 3rd sentence. No.
Mine was. It was the mall. My first date was definitely at the mall. We did a movie, but it was at the mall. That was my first date. All right, next question. What is the single most important thing you learned as a child? Single most important thing you learned as a child. We're gonna start with Antonio this time. Single most important thing. D, I give you some rest. Single most important thing you learned as a child.
Probably to tell the truth. Like I learned, yeah.
I'm assuming you learned the hard way.
The hard way, yeah.
Okay, all right. Q?
Oh, okay, I'm going back. All right. The single most important thing.
Most important.
Most important thing. The most important thing I learned was that I have to be very cognizant of the type of person that I want to be, because I had a lot of examples of what I didn't want to be. And I was like, oh, I need to be careful. There's a lot of people that are living lives that I don't want to live. So I became very early in my childhood.
Okay.
Dion?
You not ready, Dion? Okay, I learned. Wow. I think the lesson from childhood, but I picked it up later on, was to love myself unconditionally. Because the people that were around me weren't necessarily going to love me the way that I deserved to be loved.
That's so funny that as soon as you said that, like, mine came to my head, and it was protect your light. As a kid, I learned that because so many people were trying to take that light away from me. And it says, like, you need to be more responsible, or you need to do this. Whatever they were saying was taken away from the light that I knew I had inside. And I learned that on my own accord. It's like, protect your light.
Okay. Last question. What is the single most important thing you look forward to experiencing in this life that you have? And we're gonna start with Q.
Oh, me. Damn.
Hey, never go first.
When I part of the reason why me and D stuck through our relationship was because I had a lot of vision for what I saw in her and us. Even though we disagree with a lot of things that were important to me, there was a lot of big things that she did agree with. So I would say like my final vision is like almost like an empire. It's like we get to the top of our purpose, our passion. And a lot of times when you get to the top of your purpose and passion, that materializes into things. So of course, nice homes. So those are byproducts of you doing the work of what you're supposed to be doing. I feel, at least, when you do it the right way. And just looking up and saying, yo, I manifested all the things that I saw in my vision. It's right in front of me. And just living in that daily.
I like that. Q had 13 sentences, by the way, but we're gonna accept it. We're gonna take it. We're gonna take it. Because it was good. It was good. That's good. All right, Diaz.
Can you say the question again?
Single most important thing you're looking to experience in this life.
What it's like to be married for 40 plus years. I look forward to that.
Marriage, baby.
You can dive deep if you want. You can match up with Q's sentence structure, so we can go a little longer.
Well, the reason for that is I've never seen it. And no mother, father, never. You know what I mean? People that raised me, never seen it, and just to see what the fruit it's going to produce for my kids. I think it's just going to be amazing. Like I really look forward to just sitting down with my wife and like listen, we did it, and we did what everybody said we couldn't do. Marriage don't exist. People can't be faithful, and we did it. So I really look forward to that because that's really that's like important to me. Everything else is a bonus, but that's critical. And I think that's leaving a huge legacy.
I love that, man. Dion, you ready?
Question one time.
Single most important thing you want to experience in this life.
I have we all have a higher self, right? A person who kind of tells us where we should or shouldn't be. It's like, but there always seems to be like one step ahead of us. I think the most thing that I would like to experience is to be living in real time with my higher self. And however that manifests, that it manifests. But like in real time, I'm living with that person, that inner voice. And we're both kind of like proud of each other. It's like, we're not chasing any goals. We're not chasing anything or anyone. We're just living in harmony with our. Everything that we need to do is either done, is being done, or will be done. And I'm like so present, and so proud of that present moment that I could feel it and know it and be like, oh shit, like I am. Yep. The I am. Everybody's looking for their I am. That's what I'm striving to experience.
That's right.
I think for me, I'm in the middle of it right now. Like to see the turnaround and what's happened, things that I've manifested, that I'm in the things that I've had conversations, dialogue with Diaz about, like the fact that I'm starting to understand and feel what everyone else has said. Like I'm in the middle of it right now. So I think that was the moment I was looking for, and it's weird because I'm in it. Like I'm in the middle of it. All these things are happening.
That's amazing.
It's so strange. It's like a very surreal feeling of like, all right, you create something, right? You put out content, and I'm sorry to go too long, but you're putting out something that was really geared towards helping yourself as you go through your own personal journey, but that it started helping people. And then now people are taking notice of the thing that you were doing just to heal. So like healing became success. So just think about that. Your growth and your healing becomes your actual success. And that's such a surreal thing to think about. And I celebrate like things that seem like may seem small. Like there's a celebrity that reshared one of my posts yesterday,
Oh,
and
baby.
then it turned into like four actually nope today 10 follows from celebrity verified accounts. So now it's like, and then
Wow.
messages and like, but it's also like uh reassurance, and not that those people are any higher than anyone else. It's just that they're in an industry where you're just like, yo, this is insane. But the fact that you have like back and forth dialogue with like people that you only saw on movies is kind of crazy. Like you're messaging these people now. I think that stuff is like, I've always wanted to see what that felt like. And there's other pieces and elements of it that I'm looking forward to, but the fact of like proving yourself right in a sense, how that feels, and being walking in that and at the moment, like as I'm talking to y'all, things are happening. So it's such a surreal feeling. So um that's super important to me. Like it's just like, oh, this is happening like right now. Like, oh, I'm not prepared. And the one thing I'll say is like, you're never gonna be prepared. It's always gonna be like, oh, this is
Right.
like, oh, there's more to this. There's different steps. This is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm just thankful I can stay the same person in a sense throughout the process. Like I want to become more of a giving person as things manifest themselves. You
Right.
know,
Right.
yeah. All right, so I got one more question for y'all. This is probably the most important question. Each of you can go. I want to know this one thing, and is what yourself. So you're looking at yourself, 12 months from now, and you have to say something to yourself, and that thing is how much you care about how much you love yourself 12 years from, or 12 months from now. What you're gonna say to you. So what would you say to yourself in a loving way about some things that you've done 12 months from now? So you got 1 year and you're talking to you. What would you say to you?
Wait, what do you mean? Like today?
So your future self, a year from now, something uplifting and positive you're going to say to you a year from now. Who
I,
you want to go first, Q?
yeah, I'll go first. Me, it'll be you did what you said you were gonna do. It almost almost always happens that way. It happens differently from where I thought it was gonna play out. But
Wait, Q. I gotta stop you for a second. You have to talk to Q right now. Don't talk to us.
oh,
You gotta, yeah, you talking to you. You gotta solely talk to you.
right. You, man, I'm proud of you. You did what you said you was gonna do. You did what you said you was gonna do. You did it the right way, and you did it with the right people. You did. You're laying out the foundation that you said you wanted to lay out, and you followed through, man. I'm proud of you. Thank you. And I'm done with the monologue. But I want to say this. I want to say this because that happened to me already.
Yeah.
One time we were smoking weed and we started meditating, and my present self met my higher self, and we had a full blown conversation. My higher self was a little bit fitter, walked a little more upright, was slightly taller, smiled a little bit bigger. It was like he made it. Everything that I had ever dreamed of doing, he did it. And I could tell by the way he was looking back at me. And he was like, "What's up?" He was happy to see me because it was almost like nostalgia. Like, oh shit, like coming, we hugged each other the same way. We made the same laugh. And he was just like, "Yo, bro, don't worry about nothing. You did everything. You good." And I was like, "Yo, this is crazy. Like I'm really talking to myself in a higher dimension, essentially." And long story short, we were just talking about different things, and I told him, I said some silly shit. I said, "I want to win the lotto." I was like, "I just want to win the lotto." He was like, "You don't want to do that. You'll be good." Like he kind of walked off, and I was like, "No, I want to win the lotto." He was like, "No, you don't need to do that. Just you be good." He kind of laughed it off. And then, long story short, he did something to me to make me experience what having all that power at one time would feel like if I did just happen to win, $200 million at one time, and it was overwhelming and overbearing. He was like, "That's the reason why you don't want that." He's like, "That's not the way you're gonna get there. It's another way. Like, trust me, you got it." And I woke up out of the dream, and I was like, "Yo, that was real. That was honestly, that was a real conversation with myself." And so, yeah, you know what I'm saying? That really happened. I'm gonna put the chart.
That's God. I feel like if I was talking to my future self, I would say, D, What's understood don't gotta be discussed. So I'ma just go like this. Bro. I would just, because what's understood don't gotta be discussed. When you see somebody you know, you just like,
because your future self know you. It's like
I know, right? Yeah, that's how it is.
You gonna hype yourself up like you already know.
Always.
It's the black girl eye contact where you like you already know you did it. You. I like that. Diaz.
I thought you was about to go Houston. Good question. I think I would my future self keep going and keep growing. Keep going and keep growing. I got so many things that I know I can do, and a lot of that is growth, right? But I can't stop going. So I always think about where would I be right now next year, and I better be progressively further. But how do I do it? Keep going, keep growing. You know what I mean? And that's just it, man, because we're going to take it over. But, we got to keep going, secure that bag, and we're going to be all right. So, what about you, though?
Man, JT, I am proud of you. I know you didn't hear that often growing up, but I am proud of the man that you've become. I'm proud that you didn't give up, even though you had multiple opportunities to give up. I'm proud that you overcame all the adversity and that you continue to do it in the right way by showcasing love and positive energy, because that's the most important. And that you shifted the narrative for millions of people. I tell you, my goal over the next 12 months is to assist and help and inspire 1 million people a day, and I'm on path for that. So that's my personal goal. So yeah, me a year from now is gonna be a dope conversation, and hopefully I can continue to have the same similar dialogues, if not higher, more productive dialogues with y'all as well. Because I think it's just when you step into this like on the path where you feel like, wow, this is actually happening. It's like good to have like productive conversations with people that are also on that path as well. So
Absolutely.
I think
JT,
yeah.
you. Always. Bro.
Go ahead, Ian.
A beacon.
we're proud of y'all, man. I'm proud of both of y'all. But I'm proud of JT setting that platform. Sometimes it takes a leader to open that door, to crack that door open.
I'm coming in right behind you too.
I'll be the Robin all day, man. I'll be the Robin all day. They should be Batman. Do your thing, brother. We need a
I
black
appreciate y'all, man. Well, listen, I'm gonna hold everybody accountable on this live, right? So Dion, the content, and make sure everybody follows the content. She's gonna be posting more music. Q is gonna be posting that acting reel, and he's gonna keep promoting Secret to Sexy as well, and also Manifest Destiny, the clothing line. Y'all gonna when the new launch? When the next launch?
That is the first. 1 second, I just put my @ name in there because I'm on his live. Anybody wants to follow me, I'll follow back. The first season, first trimester, what they call it, of 23, Jordan year, we're coming out with new stuff, new gear, new everything, new music, new reels, like Q said. Like we just, invested in Airbnb property, so new passive income. We out here. We definitely, and it's so dope because like so many people get together and they date and they go to dinner and they fuck and they have children and it's great. But it's like the people who build things not only for themselves but for their community. Those are the people that's gonna make their mark in the world. It's like you build for your family, that's amazing, but that's your first ring. You have outer rings that also need your help. So that's definitely the goal. So Manifest is a part of that. So first season next year, you can expect definitely some new gear from us and so many more.
Also, top of the year, so y'all got to drop beforehand. So we got to get into, I this is what I say. Get something small. Get something small. Listen, trust me on this one. I'm learning. I had to learn. I got like marketing specialists and all.
Okay.
Friday, something. Something. I don't care what it is.
Yes, right.
We'll talk after. I don't care what it is.
Black Friday.
I don't care what it is.
Right,
There's
it's
a
the
reason
holiday.
why I'm telling you. Black Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, trust me. I won't steer you wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna follow your journey. Make sure y'all follow their journey. If you're on Facebook, you can follow them here. But on Instagram, we got build these profiles up and make sure y'all follow them on there. Mr. Diaz,
Yo,
father, professional bodybuilder. We got some shows coming up. I know you got some more shows. This is your season when you typically get bigger. So I already know what's
yeah.
happening right now. What else? What's going on?
We so first and foremost, 2023, my whole closet I'm rebranded with my logo, my brand, with my business. Everything I'm wearing is from, I mean, obviously I have the Jordans and all that, but clothes wise, you're gonna see everything, hats, or I don't wear hats, but everything in the closet. That's the goal. Right? I'm tired of rocking other people's stuff. But as far as shows, the goal is to definitely do more than one show. But you know, the cat's out of the bag when wife's pregnant, so I want to support her until until the baby, you know, she's good, and I'm just training. Probably knowing me, right?
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. So we'll know in like 2 weeks what the gender is, but I told her, listen, let's be blessed, whatever God send us. But yeah, no, just I'm taking Arizona, Houston. Mark my words, next year you're gonna see me. I'm like, yo, pull up to Arizona. I'm gonna be on the billboards, everything. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm taking the whole thing over. It's an open market. Take it all over. And then we just going to continue to spread out, come back to New York. You know, I'll be in Cali too, Texas. We everywhere. So that's all in 2023 though. And the reason that I know I can do it is because of the relationship, the networking, getting in, you know what I mean? Now I'm doing my semifinals in Miami for this speaking audition. So
That's what I was gonna say. Talk about the speaking engagements, man. You're also a public speaker, so let's talk about that briefly.
yeah, so I'm super passionate about speaking because I feel like I can share my message, my testimony, and change people's lives. But I want to be able to speak on a global level. You know, people like Eric Thomas really inspired me, and I have a story to share, and I have a story that can help, especially young men. You know what I mean? So right now, I just auditioned for the first. It's called the American Speak Off, and I made it back to the semifinals, which is in Miami. And if you make it out of Miami, you go to Vegas, and we going to Vegas. Whatever God's will is, but you know I ain't coming to lose, Houston. We're gonna go there, and we're gonna do our thing. But the goal from there for me, as soon as I step off the plane, who here? I'm networking. I'm in the lobby. I'm handing cards out. And then when it's showtime, you know we're gonna do our thing. Bodybuilding, I had control over. Turning pro, that's something I controlled. How much weight, how much work I'm gonna put in. This here is a little political, but you can't not acknowledge talent. And I'm pulling you out of your seat. You're gonna hear what I gotta say.
Nice.
So, and you know, the goal again, we all in the same is to help people, empower, inspire, build. And I want everybody to be, whether you're single, whatever, happy, and just living your best life. What does that look like? Well, you know what? I got a formula, one track mind. Let me help you get there. You know what I mean? So 2023, listen, I don't care if people claim it's a bad year. We go into a depression because, mark my words, with the inflation and all that, be careful, but I'm buying everything. So just be smart about it whenever, you know what I mean? But that's a big year for me. But what's going on with you, Houston? What we doing, man?
All things rooted in love, man. The same narrative. The Spreadlove store is being revamped right now. So everybody that's doing the my cash drop link, the store is almost sold out. So we've sold almost 4,000 items in the past few months. So it's been good. Yeah. So yeah, I want to continue on that path of shipping all over the world. Being able to do it from home has been pretty cool. The goal is to not need to do it at home and be able to hire out. But I've been doing everything to operate out of house, from mom popping in when she can help and bagging up stuff and shipping it out. If not, I'm just in there. Like yesterday, I was in there bagging up in a good way. You bagging up clothing and shipping it. I mean, and it's dope because, you know, being able to ship all over the world has been pretty cool because it's things that you would never, I personally didn't envision. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, you know, you get a couple orders here and there, but to be able to say I have shipped to over 12 countries it's been pretty cool. Like when you see a label coming, you're like, wait, this is where Poland? Like who's buying in Poland? But it's been pretty cool. So the goal for me is to continue to push love. You know what I mean? Everything rooted in love, all things rooted in love, positive energy, continue to heal on this journey and help others with positive content, because I realize the importance of it when 90% of the things we see tend to be some rooted in negativity. I want to be on the 10% side and try to help others, you know, and learn through that process. I don't know it all. I feel like I don't know anything other than trying to be a better version of myself. So as I do that, I want to bring people along with me that are also geared towards growth and trying to get better, and not ever going in it like we're professionals at something. I want to go into everything like I'm constantly learning and I'm asking questions as opposed to giving advice. So my advice always is rooted in me learning. So that's what I want to continue to do throughout this year. Got a drop in we got a Black Friday new drop, and then we got a Christmas leading up into Christmas, and then some fitness travel events that'll be announced very soon. So that's gonna be pretty dope. And in a whole nother country doing fitness and speaking, and yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool. And probably I told y'all this is the base, this is the tree, man. So all these branches, the goal is to see. I want to be everywhere, doing everything at all times. Like I'm not doing any limitations, and everything's also rooted in now. So whereas normally it'd be like someday, one day, we know there's not on the calendar, but now is always the only thing that exists. Past is gone, future's not here yet, but now is all we have. So I'm doing everything now. I'm not waiting for anything. We doing everything when we got the opportunity. If I'm breathing, I'm doing something that's gonna propel us all forward. So, and I'm gonna do it with a smile. That's the goal.
That's good, brother.
But listen, I know. I appreciate y'all. Y'all got anything else y'all want to plug? Where y'all want people to go? What y'all want them to follow?
Can you social medias or do we write them?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Sell your social media where you want people to follow. Ladies, y'all can follow Dion. Where can they follow you, Dion?
On my social media, of course. Dion Art. It's Dion DIION _ Heart like Kevin, HART. That's DII, 2 I's. Look, she said, write it. Like, God damn, write it again. DIION HART. Boom. And right where I wrote it, that's this man's social media, Quentin Horton. So you tap him. If you tap him, you'll find me.
Absolutely.
Sure.
You'll find it, man.
You're gonna find me.
I'm right here, woman. Queen.
All right. Cute.
But I will say, yeah, follow my fitness page at Secrets Too Sexy. Yeah, that's it. At Secrets Too Sexy. Manifest, also at Manifest Destiny 11.11. Then my personal Instagram page, this.is.g.q. This is GQ. You can find me there.
That's our business page. You can find all those pages. Click on you just click on him and it'll show you. It'll send you to all of them.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Diaz, professional bot. I need some y'all got any mentorship or some coaching going on? I wanna be able to pick y'all brains. I'm trying to get like y'all. Can y'all give me some tips?
Listen, it's funny you say that because you probably know more than all of us put together.
Why is
this dude fronting?
have telling this joke?
Listen, I'm just a little older than y'all, so I know a little bit more from that perspective. But nah, y'all collectively, I always say this in fitness, man. There's always someone that has more information in certain aspects. So plus, I'm just motivated by y'all. So I would support any program that y'all put out just because y'all inspire me. So I want to make sure that on this path as well, constantly showing support, not with our words, but with our actions, and even more importantly in Black businesses, our dollars. So Diaz knows immediately. He like, yo, I'm putting out the shirts. I'm like, where I send the money? Like, it's like,
I
that's
appreciate
the only
you,
conversation we're really gonna have. It's like, I want to support so the business grows. Yeah, I can share it on my profile, but also supporting with my dollars because this is an economy where I see your wife just popped on, Diaz.
Oh, did she?
We gotta have her on next time too, because we have she's also doing something with the brand as well, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Can you talk about that
Yeah.
briefly?
So right now she's working on her master's in getting her license in behavioral and to be a behavioral analyst. Am I saying that right? A BCBA and
Tell her to pop
basically.
on the screen so the world can get to know your wife, so we can see her.
You want to come here? Hello. She doesn't want to disclose her face.
All right, we'll get her next time.
We'll get her next time.
It's all up.
But anyway, she's working on her that cert, and basically, we're going to put everything into the business and be able to be our own consulting and contract schools, and you know what I mean, to be able to provide our own service instead of working for someone else providing that service through our skill set. You know what I mean? So we're going to be the primary people doing it. She said hi. So Houston, you're gonna thank me for this. I just created a TikTok. Now the reason I didn't do it is because my time, like I don't have the time. But I said, you know what, I got to, and it's been
I already
decent.
told you what to do.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I tell y'all all y'all what to do. Whatever you post on that one, you post that same one. Don't try to recreate for now. That's how you can think, because you got different people that are they never seen it over there. They never going to another country. They never seen it in these spaces. Post that same content and boop, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Do that for time, and then you can get to know your audience, and then you start to build another app. You can create something separate for here. But as it is right now, it's like Wild Wild West, man. You put everything on all 4 platforms, and then start to build. Also, another thing I just learned recently, YouTube is rolling out their new platform where they're paying more attention to the shorts.
Yep.
So those 60-second videos that I create now and now be a little bit more seen on YouTube as well. So I would say that the 60-second, whatever the content is, especially as a bunch of health professionals, you can differentiate content, but 60 seconds of it as well, and you can put that on the platform, especially on YouTube, because it's probably like the top one when it goes to monetization. So, we talking business. I'm acting like nobody else here. I'm talking to the 3 of y'all. Make sure that you utilize every single one, because now it's like, all right, everybody's competing for all right, you got positive content. Oh yeah, we're gonna monetize you here and here. So you got 4 avenues to do it. So do all of it, man.
It's dope.
And y'all know you gotta ask me questions. I don't know a lot, but what I do know, I'm gonna tell y'all. So
Appreciate that.
It's true.
Sure. Man.
But listen, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for sitting with me and having an amazing night. Y'all got the benefit of 3 extra hours on me. I have to go to bed. I got clients at 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m. man. I'm up helping people get healthy.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right, get on.
Yeah. Listen, I love y'all individually and collectively, man. Thank you for shining your light and your expertise and your experiences and helping us with your words, man. I truly appreciate it, because having dialogue with positive people helps to fill me up, and just the fact of us having this dialogue with others watching also helps to fill their lives as well. So I appreciate y'all for that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Still watching. Big shout outs to you guys. Thank you so much. JT, you're that guy for even creating the platform. Carolyn, been in the whole time. Like, V, so much. Really.
Anytime. Anytime.
Absolutely.
And what to Diaz and to Q and Dion, thank y'all for showcasing love amongst each other with your spouses. I appreciate seeing that, man. We need more of it. So please just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Show it, be loud with it, be unapologetic about it. Just keep showing it. Just show it. Listen, all right, y'all have a good night. Dream big, work hard, enjoy life, and always spread love. And make sure that love goes to you first, because you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot give and receive love from an empty heart. So keep your heart full.
Yeah.